Good, bad. I'm the guy with the mic.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
I love the music in that. Like every one of these I cut, I put some weird music in it to surprise myself with and forget about later. So that every time I see it again, I get all excited.
Yeah,
I
that's
dance to every song.
I can dance to it.
Hey, we can dance if we want to. Just saying.
we can dance.
Yeah, this is how.
Hi.
So welcome to a padded cell that's not on a Sunday. Why? Because we can.
That's fair.
Or not on a Sunday. So I don't even know what the day of the week it is today. Is it Monday?
It
It is
Monday.
Monday.
Yes,
Sadly,
it's
yes.
Unfriended Pages Day. It is Monday.
Yes. I just know I'm supposed to be places at times, and I show up to them. That's about as far as I
Sometimes.
go. Yeah, mostly.
Here and there.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Mental breakdown moment.
Yeah. Today, padded cell is always filled by complete mental breakdowns, and today is no different.
I'm okay with that. Like, as horrible as that sounds, like, nope, accurate.
If you witness me having a total breakdown on screen, I was off of one of my meds for about a week and just got back on it. And I'm like sitting around reading stuff and like almost crying and then being like, oh, wait, okay. And then I start stuttering and then I get frustrated and then I start just getting about ready to cry again. So you might
For
get some
some
Delphine
weird
tears.
reason, I just got this weird visual of you in place of Buffalo and Sounds of the Lambs, like delivering all the lines, but like crying while you're doing it.
Oh, Lord.
And I don't know why. I don't know why that mental image just appeared for me, but it totally did.
I mean, if you want me to.
Oh, it's good. Oh, you'll get the hose again.
Yes.
So most of us, you guys, are very well acquainted with myself, Jenny Elliott, Dell, and Uncle Necro down here. But you guys might remember Mariah Lind from one of the early campfire sessions, and her and Kristen are two of the people that we're going to be pulling in a lot more often coming up here, specifically with the fall season. But we stole her and kidnapped her into the padded cell this evening.
What's up?
Damn right. Oh, as far as seasons go, by the way, we're just gonna fuck with you on those because like different shows are gonna have different seasons as far as they go. The Clutch is going to be 1 year equals one season. I'll throw that out there. But different shows will be rotating in and out of
Yeah.
being aired for a while.
Yeah, and
Like
some
what
new
we're
shows,
recording.
you know.
Yeah.
New ones, old ones that you guys haven't seen for a long time might be coming back. As we get closer to the end of this month, I'm sure we'll drop even more of that shit.
And we are fixing to have our first episode of Kids Unwrapped coming up this month.
Yep.
We are doing our fake horror box from Patty. Because my kid told me she wanted the Attack of Shoe Mountain book for their special reward for August. So therefore, Patty made something awesome for all the kids in our little group.
That's exciting, man.
Have Cassie come on and do the opening, and we're going to see if we can get Patty to come on and have a conversation.
That is so cool. Like I like that we're incorporating like kids versions of our shows in here now and then. That's really cool. We're doing the kids unboxing. We're going to do a kids and the teen campfires coming up eventually. I don't know. That's just really cool to me, man.
When are we going to do a kids version of Tomb of the Terrible?
Oh, that'd be a good one too.
Ooh.
I would vote for My Pet Monster on that one.
Ooh.
That's fair.
There's a lot of good ones to choose from, but that one for some reason it's still one of my favorites. Or Garbage Pail Kids, the movie.
That is cute.
Oh, it's a little bad.
Is that your way of saying you have bats in your belfry?
Well, this is a replacement for the awkward turtle. The turtle I gave away to a little 3 months old. So we now have the replacement.
So I've been doing something sneaky.
Count fuzzy nipples.
Fuzzy nipples. What have you been doing that's sneaky, Mariah?
I actually picked up I started writing for one of those like chapters book sites.
Yeah. You were telling me about that.
Yeah. So it's actually going well.
Nice.
I'm writing a little bit more than I was before. I don't like the platform. I really want to get back to traditional release type stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually going well.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the chapter thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know we
about
have a
it.
lot of writers in the room.
Okay, so I have a very limited amount of time. I am working on the book series I already have released, but I don't really have the time to like sit down and do like large purges and writing stuff out. But I had a whole lot of story ideas that I was trying to get out of my head. These online platforms like Dream and Gatella or whatever it is, there's like several of them. But you see the ads for them on Facebook where they're telling you can read a book, whatever. When you join the site, if you choose to start writing for them, you can literally just upload one chapter at a time.
Okay.
It's at your pace. It's how you do it. Eventually, if you want to go paid, you can. But at that point, you're talking to site administrators and editors that they have that are running. They get assigned to your book and they run the text to see if plagiarism or anything like that is going on.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of a whole lot more relaxed, at least for me, because random ideas I have, I can just throw out and, write one chapter of what I feel I want to write that particular day.
See if it sticks.
Yeah, see if it sticks. Well, I just wanted to write again. I was tired of not writing. So I used one of my side story ideas and just kind of threw it out there, and people are surprisingly interested. So I remember now why I was doing this, because there are actually people that like what I do.
Good. I've been trying to remind you of this for a while.
Yeah, I know.
That's super cool, though, man. I do like that whole setup.
It seems to be kind of a newer thing too. It's, well, maybe not a newer thing, but a resurgence of an older thing with like the Kindle Vella and other programs like that, where you can just do like Siri.
Like a serial.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could be really cool and, write serial novels like Stephen King did The Green Mile. That would be awesome. But I'm not
Do you
quite
guys
there.
do you guys all remember buying the individual books in Green Mile?
Yes,
Okay.
I still have
No.
all 7.
The first one I bought, I was in labor. And silly me, I was supposed to be induced that day, but I just decided to go into labor a couple hours before that. And so I'm walking around Walmart because I've already expected the hospital in a little bit, and I haven't really gone into hard labor or anything. So I'm like, oh, I'll get this. It's short. I can just read this while I'm, in labor. Oh, no, that didn't happen. There were people like staring at me as I'm like grabbing a book off, and then all of a sudden I have a contraction in the Walmart in Fremont. And like, do we call someone? I'm like, oh, great. Just getting stuff for the hospital. And they're like, I'm having a baby. It's okay. It's okay. It's not going to happen here. Don't worry.
Does everybody remember that time when he published the Green Mile in serial form, and before they obviously put it out in collected form?
Yeah.
But during that time, pretty much every author started doing the chapter book thing.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I
became
remember
a big deal.
Dean Koontz did that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think Robin Cook even, because my mom was big into Robin Cook.
Yeah. But I mean, this is not, I wish I could say that my work was like that, but each one of those serials for the Green Mile was what, 40,000, 50,000 words?
It felt like a lot.
This is not that. This is like, oh, look, I can't sleep and this is on my brain, so let me write 2,000 words.
Right.
Remember when Charles Dickens did that?
Yeah.
That used to be
I wasn't
kind of
alive
the thing.
when he did it, but I am familiar.
We're familiar that it happened.
Like Herbert West Reanimator originally was just chapters published individually. And while I was reading that, I had to remind myself of that. And I'm like, there's a lot of backstory going on in what I just read. So,
Well, and I will give this to Raz. He's been trying to get me writing again for a while. I just like 3 very bad experiences right behind each other. For like 3 years, I just quit.
Yeah.
I didn't write anything.
I haven't written for a while, but I've been caught up with a lot of stuff going on. There's been a lot of changes going on in my life.
Yeah.
And all the stuff on here. And this isn't causing me the problems or anything, but just so many things. And I have all the ideas, so I'm getting those written down, but I'm not getting the actual, like, okay, I'm going to sit down and spend 1 hour, even if I'm just typing the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. I'm going to type just so my hands get used to it,
Yeah.
Honestly, like last time, like until recently, that I really, really wrote much was probably Nano, because I did like a little bit of editing and like added a couple little things here and there when I did the short story collection. But I just started doing getting back to SIC2 and that story for that anthology, and it was just these last couple of weeks that I really actually like seriously started trying to write again, and I'm still to the point where like I'm writing almost nothing. It's just like it's starting to finally come back.
That's the best thing on Facebook when you see your writer friends who are like, I just nailed out like 5,000 words, and it's like, yeah, I am so happy for you, man.
Yep.
I am so proud of you.
Well, I mean, my Facebook, it's kind of horrible because there used to be word updates or I'm doing this or I'm doing that, and like the last 2 years, it is nothing but I hate my job. Me, it's when you have that one work friend meme, or when you look at that one coworker and you're like, how are you still here? That is my Facebook page right now.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about my page. I'm talking about my feed. Mine is just like, this is a random squirrel that jumped out of my brain, and here's an advertisement for this, and this, and here's a promotion for this. And do you guys do this thing too? Because I'm really confused. Is it just me? Am I nitpicky, or is it everyone I know?
It's everyone you know. Like we're birds of a feather. Like all of us are kind of nitpicky in our own way.
And then I have those people who.
Oh, that's the wrong button. Sorry, I was trying to do our favorite button and I can't remember which one it is on the new thing.
Oh, poor Raz.
Just start pushing buttons and we'll learn.
No, this thing has a lot more than my old one did. Like a lot more. Actually, I'm not even. Oh, here we go. Haha, found it.
Yay. The ones that make me sad on my Facebook feed, though, well, not sad, but make me feel like totally underwhelming as a human being, are the people who like, and I just put out a new book, and then like the next month they're like, and here's my latest book, and then like the release is coming up for my latest book, and I'm like, dude, do you sleep?
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you? And they're all like award-winning books. They're all fabulous, and I'm just.
And we see a lot of the same ones. So I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like,
Meth is amazing.
She got to the point where she's like, okay, I get you guys like my stuff in this group, but I'm going to have to slow down. And then it's slowed down, and I'm not mad. It's just one of those, hey, you choose health. Yay.
And that's really discouraging. Like seeing these people that have the ability to just write, and there's something new coming out every couple months.
And it's great.
Well written, well thought out story. And it's like, I am having trouble getting 30 done right now.
Yeah. Well, I try not to let it be like it is discouraging, but I also try to be like, that's a goal. That's a life goal. Like maybe I will never reach that level, but hopefully, I can.
I keep trying to set these plans up to do this. Like I remember when Patty first started, started working with her, I was like, okay, Silence is Crimson this year. Then starting next year, 5 books. We plotted them. We had release dates for all 5 of them. And then, last year happened, and I'm like, wow, my life sucks right now. My health is in the shitter. So 5 is not going to happen, but I'm still going to do, I still think I did a bunch of anthologies with her and other people still, but like I only released I only released the kids book last year. And then the short story got pushed back to this year. SIC2 got pushed back to this year. Some things got pushed to next year. And I'm like, man, I really thought I could go in and do everything I'm seeing right now within life. And you're just like, how the fuck am I going to do one?
And I hate it because I'm going to tell you, working in the real world in comparison to writing my fictional one really fucking sucks.
Yep. I told myself, you're doing 3 books this year. 3 books.
I hate people so much some days.
Mm-hmm.
Are those the days that end in the Y?
Yes.
Yeah.
The days that end in the Y. The horrible thing is I and we used to talk about this, Raz and I hate people that, talk.
I hate people.
Yeah.
And they do the fake voice thing to like come off better than they are. I hate that. And now it is a skill that I employ daily.
Yep, you have to.
I fucking hate it. And
customer service, baby.
And when I first went back to work, we were still doing Twisted Geekdom. And I had talked about, oh yeah, I just jumped in and started answering the phones today. And everybody went, oh, listen to her voice. And they were like, why? So I did the script from work on the show or before the show. And they were like, you do not even sound like you.
Nebraska, home of the telemarketers for quite a few number of years because we apparently mostly lack in accents.
Yeah.
So it was easier for people around the country to hear us. But yeah, talking to people and being like, calling from Gallup polls, for instance, or something. And that was the one there. People would get so excited. And
let me tell you, mine is, okay, so I'm from North Carolina for anyone who didn't know. But when I'm on the phone and I'm dealing with a customer or trying to get someone to stop complaining or anything else, unlike other people from here who would try to lose the accent, I lean into it.
Double down.
I double down on it. And I do the most like calm Southern Belle type voice and call everyone sweetie and darling. And it's I lean into it because how can you be mad when somebody just sounds that sweet? You just can't do it.
Okay. So when I worked at the Greyhound Ticket and Routing Information Center in Omaha, Nebraska, also a Nebraska guy, by the way, there was a guy in our training class named Yuri. Yuri defected from, at the time, Soviet Russia with his family, like mid-'80s, got here, learned English by himself, and worked his way up to that. And he was the kind of guy that everybody wanted to sit next to, especially when we were on the floor, because he never lost his accent for anybody. So you could hear him just going, sir, no, I'm Russian. No, that does not go there. No, do not yell. You know.
Not the yelling.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. But yeah, there was just, that job made me hate people even more, but I won't get into that.
Yeah.
Oh, working for Gallup, it was like the land of happiness because they have the whole drop in the bucket thing that they do. Like you have a bucket and you have to fill it with drops of confidence and happiness and good experiences. And so like I was a high school cheerleader. My sister was a cheerleader. Used to make those locker signs, that you hang up in everybody's locker, and you're just like, hey, you make all, and put all the glitter and stuff on them. And our supervisors would do that for us. They have these drop shaped little things with lines on them, and they would write out like, you did this really, really well. And then they'd put like happy faces and outline them and maybe put on some glitter or a sticker or something and like hand them out. And I was really bummed because somehow my line got taken out of the rotation for monitoring. Somehow it was just like a computer glitch. And so I hadn't gotten a drop in my bucket for like 2 or 3 weeks. And I was just like, I suck. I'm like the worst Gallup employee ever. And I mentioned it to my boss. She's like, you haven't? Because you're always really good. And then she looked up and she was like, oh, okay, you're okay. We just missed you. You'll get some makeup drops. So, but then I'd be in a bad mood. I'm like, I'm going to take a ladle and go dip into somebody's bucket today. I'm just like,
I definitely did my time as a telemarketer, man. And the place I was at, they like totally were okay with us using different voices for each call, different accents. Of course, me being me, I played around with that until I almost got in trouble. But I did really well at it. But I did not like the glitter messages. And it was a problem for me. Because if you guys know me, you'll know that I don't like glitter. The reason why is because there's just far too many shiny things in one place for me to focus on, so it just freaks me out. So I don't like glitter. And so after this big message, for like the 10th time of me asking them to stop using glitter was written on my little locker cubby thing, I put a note in my manager's office. It said, if you enjoy my work, please considering not giving me craft herpes. And after that, not one time did I ever get glitter in my locker cubby thing again.
I hate sand. It's so rough and it gets everywhere.
Yeah.
I like
Weird side note on the sand thing. If you ever want to send Neil Gaiman something, don't send sand. If you're sending him an hourglass that requires sand, remove the sand from it. And because as his secretary had put down, or his PA or whatever, like I used to follow him on forums and stuff all the time, and they would get me, were like, you have no idea how much sand we have laying around here, and broken things that leaked sand that came all over the office, and there is sand that will never go away. Don't worry. If it requires sand, we have the sand to put in it. So, and he also likes mangoes.
A canvas, just a white canvas that just has the word sand and a sandy like color or just written on it. Is that okay?
Sending him just a can of emptiness?
A canvas, like a painting canvas, like a small canvas.
You said a can.
No, and then with a sandy colored letters, just says sand.
I think that would be fine.
I
as long as it doesn't have sand rubbed on it.
Right. Yeah.
So I had this full jar of silver glitter, and then the 3-year-old found it.
Oh,
and then it looked like a fairy had happened from my kitchen through my bedroom, out the door, into my mother-in-law's place. It looked like a fairy had come in.
And it never goes away.
It's like Tinkerbell just came out and just sneezed all over the place.
It was that time when Tinkerbell became the drummer of Spinal Tap.
Ah.
I have a friend who works at he used to work at a gas station, and he'd take that super fine glitter and he'd dump it in the money drawer on the bills. And so like every time he would be giving people change, it would get into their wallet, and then it would get all over their money. And so it was just like he was trying to spread the glitter throughout the town and see if he would end up getting back bills that already had glitter on them.
I may have punched somebody if they did that to me.
There was a point when I was working at Radio Shack in Fremont, Nebraska, where I would carry around a tube of the glitter. And if somebody really pissed me off, I would just take it out. I've never done it, never had to do it. But the thought was, if they really pissed me off, I was just pop it up and poosh.
Glitter bomb?
Maybe go glitter, poosh, and then glitter there, Fun fact, glitter is my safe word. And with that in mind, I want to bring up quickly the William Friedkin just died.
Yeah.
The director of The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Ouch.
We had a lot of big ones in the last week.
What, in his 80s or so?
87, it looks.
I was going to guess 86, but I was close.
So,
yeah.
I may or may not have information about people that may or may not have sent a glitter bomb to somebody in the mail.
Vermin Supreme used to do that all the time. He's awesome.
Oh,
go on. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
I admit, my part in it was just because I hated that person so badly, and I was like, I had spent 2 years just like running myself to death, and couldn't get a pay raise, and that was the person that stopped it every time. I got offered the job for the people I work for now, and once I left, myself and the person that trained me put in money and sent a glitter bomb to his office.
That's epic.
Nice.
So
don't try that yourself, guys. You'll get fired.
I do not recommend. 1 out of 10 do not recommend. Because they get mad when they figure out who sent it.
Yeah.
I want to dial back a little bit because I heard we were talking about accents earlier. You know, James let us in on his safe word. I think my new safe word is glazed donuts, and let me tell you why. Something I'm sure we'll talk about later, or tonight, or other nights, whatever, and has already been discussed in the Dorkening. Doug got stranded at an airport on her way to a con, and me and Michelle went and picked her up in Detroit and drove her all the way to the other side of Connecticut and came back. During that trip, yeah, we'll bring Stefan in.
We both did
Hello.
Hey, Stefan.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
We finally meet face to face.
Indeed.
So
So during this trip on the way back, we're going through Pennsylvania. We make this stop, and we like Amish markets. My wife and I like that. That's something me and Michelle always do is the Amish markets. And we happened to notice there was this Amish. There's an Amish market, but right next to it, and this was an old schoolhouse style building. It was amazing. Was an Amish donut place. We go up and realize this thing only opens like twice a week, and we just happened to be there on the right day, but it closed 3 minutes ago. And she's like, "Oh man!" And there was someone inside that said, "I haven't actually locked the door yet. Why don't you come on in?" Let me just tell you, this was the cutest Amish woman that I think I've ever seen, and her voice, man. I thought Scottish, the Scottish accent, I thought was my thing until I heard just like the Dutch colonial Amish accent, and it's my new thing now. And in my head, and the period of time where she gave me for free a dozen glazed donuts. To the moment like we got back on the road, I looked at Michelle and I was like, I just want you to know, there's a whole alternate version of me named Amish Raz who just married that woman for her donuts, and we now live in the countryside and we raise goats together, and I am now the new storyteller for this Amish village, and this is my new life. And she's like, why? I was like, because, man, she really rose my barn and I churned her butter, and it was amazing. She laughed so hard she almost ran us off the road. So Amish Raz is now a thing that exists.
Nice.
So everybody, all the way over there is Stefan. You can't see because the mic's in the way for me to point. Raz, point down.
Is this down? This is down.
Yes, that's down. You're good. You did a star.
It's here. It's that way.
Yay.
Oh, Jenny's got it. Everybody's got. Okay, I'm the only one who sucks. I got a mic in the way from pointing all the way. There you go. Stefan's got it. So guys, this is.
Just do the Leatherface chainsaw move, the circumduction.
Is that better?
Spin that chainsaw.
Leatherface is the lord of the dance.
Go this way and then you go down. But yes, Stefan is an awesome friend of ours. He is also the man behind Fractured Mind Publishing and an author in his own right, and very cool. Also is very good at doing voice work and photography. And we would like to. This is your first time hanging out with us, but we're trying to kind of bring you into the show as it is. So thanks for coming and hanging out tonight.
Thank you for coming and joining us. And I'm so happy to finally meet you.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
And
Hell yeah.
Stefan, I think you've met everybody at least a little bit, except for Jenny and Mariah.
Yes, I don't
These
know.
people who you can't see over
The
here.
two middle people.
Yeah.
That one and the.
Oh, yeah, it's backwards. I always have problems. This is my big one. I try to show off my tattoos, and I show people the back of my arm for some reason.
I do that when I'm on the camera to try to figure out how to.
I can't figure out which way is everything here. Look at these. Oh wait, no, it's this way, but I can't do it. I don't know.
I mean, you can, but you have to break your arm.
Raz is waiting for the day that I break down and get a cam.
Yeah, man.
It really is. I'll do it eventually.
I need to get a better camera than just my laptop one, but
I got a better one than my laptop, but even this one, there's lots of lighting issues down here that I can't quite solve. It, in the murder basement. So eventually, I'll get another one.
And Stefan is also the reason that I have this lovely Focusrite Scarlett Studio setup going on.
Indeed.
Nice.
Because he spoils me. He's a nice guy. So how are you
giving away
doing?
my secrets.
Nice.
Well, you make my show better, so gotta let people know who's behind all that.
I love your gear dump pictures, by the way, where you just dump all the pictures of your gear in your Facebook. I watch that. I look at those all the time, man. Every time you get a new piece in.
I'm looking at I've got a DBX 286S vocal processor right now,
Ooh,
and I'm looking at upgrading that to an art. Um, what is it? Art voice channel.
yeah.
It's tube based, so you get that smoothness.
That sounds gorgeous, man. I cannot wait to hear that.
Just a minute.
Hell yeah.
There's my mic.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
That is cool.
See, you have these guys, and Stefan knows me. I'm like, that's really pretty. I have no idea what it does, but that sounds so cool. Like,
Hey, man. I can't help it. I went to broadcasting school. I was in radio. I toured with a band that cut albums. I know my sound gear. I'm just too poor to own any of the good stuff right now. But
I'm allowed to coil cables at shows and
Yeah.
have my drum key. That's all they let me do. They're like,
I coiled my own cables. Like I was my own roadie for all the PAs. I don't know why I just did. I think it's
I
particular.
couldn't figure out how to get the sound to come in my headphones.
might have been being weird today. Last night, I was like watching things, and then all of a sudden, all my sound went away. And I pulled it up, and it was like, then it started telling me really weird things because I tried running the Dell optimizer, and it was like, okay, you need to hook up yes, it was the Dell optimizer on my Dell's Dell. But it was like, you need to get a Dell monitor that actually works. And I'm like, I have one, and that's what I'm seeing this message from you on. This is a laptop. I don't know how to change that.
Proprietary. Have you ever just met new people and been like, dude, you're getting a Dell? Always wanted to ask you that.
And then you punch them?
Yeah. Like, dude, you're getting a Dell. Pop. And you're just gone.
When the commercials come on, I'm always like, what? I'm on sale? Okay, cool.
Speaking of sale,
I should talk about that.
While I was talking about the 800 well-written, well-thought-out book, I got a text from that author saying that their new Game Over is out about their serial killer's daughter book. So I'm like, yay, the last book's out.
Oh yeah, man.
All right, we've been discussing writer's block lately and stuff. That
was what has been one of our topics definitely today.
I have that today.
Man, I've talked about that with Raz always.
Yeah. I think this time around, I don't know, it's definitely a writer's block, but there's a lot more to it, I think. And I think we all experience different versions of what writer's block is at different times. And what writer's block mean, I think, also changes at different times.
Yeah. I've got the stories. I just can't get the last little goddamn bit done.
Yep.
I'm having a Stephen King kind of thing going on right now. I can't end it. Only I'm not prolonging it. I'm just waiting.
You were talking about seeing everybody's stuff pop up, hey, I got a book out this month. I got a book out next month. I think somewhere buried pretty hardcore in the center wall, the wall that's right behind Jenny right now, in the center of my wall of writer's block is just nothing but imposter syndrome. I think that's really what the issue is there for me right now.
Wow. See, sometimes my mind is blank, and then late at night, I have a wacky postulation that I post sometimes on Facebook, like the one I did recently, that spirals. That particular one where I'm like, if you're in the middle of a Memorial Stadium and you dip a Runza into a cup of Dorothy Lynch, will it open up a portal to hell?
You have to drink the Kool-Aid.
The entire night, my brain just, well, you can go with this, and it'll be suddenly it's a mythos story.
Yeah.
See,
Don't ask me how, but
Speaking of mythos story,
well, my thing was when I wrote my first two, I was a stay-at-home mom that kind of didn't have anything else to do. And then my situation changed and I went back to work. Well, now it's not easy to write that particular world for me anymore because I don't have the time to pour into it, imagine it, and drag it up. Raz will tell you I was, like sending him just off the wall messages going, what do you think about a story like this? And we would talk about it, and then I go, yeah, you're right. I can't write that. Now I'm just to a point where,
to be fair, that was her end. It was my end going, yeah, you definitely can write that, and this is why. And then her going, no, I can't write it.
I can't write that. Well, okay. And one of them is daunting, not only because he writes that, but because one of my favorite authors writes that way. And it's like, yeah, I'm not as good as you guys.
You don't have to be. You just have to be as good as you.
Yep. That's a big thing we've all been trying to learn more about. I think for the last month, that's been one of our major themes on the network is we don't have to be other people. We just have to be us. And but we're trying to figure out what that is, like what us is.
It was easy to write the zombie book because it was written like I was talking to everybody. Anybody who's talked to me knew that I was pretty much the first person in that book.
Right.
But the Avalon series, you're building whole worlds, new rules for supernatural creatures. It's to write that you could just kind of have to marry it and commit to it. Yeah. I don't have that time right now.
That's where you work on the pages and pages and pages of world building, and then have that just for your backup to reference back and forth. And Stefan, we haven't let you talk yet.
I know.
So we're all chatty.
We're chatty, yeah.
That's all right. I don't mind. I get writer's block sometimes too.
I was going to ask, since we were just talking about the mythos and voices. You're the one who published the Morlo from the Mythos and a bunch of other stuff. And how many different how did you? I guess I don't want to be how did you pick that? Was it kind of overwhelming to see all the different types of stories coming in?
No, I think the important part was when I was reading the stories, was there something psychological? So how do I phrase this? You ever been out walking in the middle of the woods and you just get this creeped out feeling for no reason, and it's like there are ants running up and down your spine, and you know that there's something somewhere watching you, and it means you no good at all. That's what I was looking for when I published the stories.
Well, yeah.
So as long as you got that creep.
So mine probably doesn't have a chance.
I didn't think mine did either, so don't think that for a second, James.
Okay.
I think now I'm going to write about Lovecraftian ants in a forest. Just in case.
I still got to work on that one that I started. Okay, so me and Raz conversation, I can't write that. We're talking about horror. I'm not, I've done the flitty fantasy adventure thing. That's always been kind of my calling. And then I did the zombie apocalypse book, and I keep throwing horror ideas at Raz. It's like, hey,
they've been great ideas, man. And you guys know my horror monologue. Most of you guys by now. Horror, it's very particular to the individual person. There's so many different subgenres of horror. A lot of writers dabble into horror without even realizing that's what they're doing. So to me, it's different. Like horror is just a very different personal thing to everybody, I think.
And like I wrote one really, really dark thing. Like I started probably the darkest idea I've ever had. And I sent it to Raz and I was like, is it stupid?
Well, if you think about it, one of the most popular movies of the last decade, Single White Female, that was psychological horror. It was more than just thriller. It was psychological horror.
Well, so was Silence of the Lambs. Like Silence of the Lambs is like way psychological.
Right. And it was psychological, but it was about a serial killer. So that naturally strays into horror territory.
Yeah.
But some psycho wanting to be you,
Yeah.
That's depending on how you wrote the story, that might or might not end up in the horror category. It might just be psychological thriller,
Like I could write a single scene. Like I could be like describing bodily damage or fluids. Have practice, will do. I could do that easy. I was a paramedic for 14 years. Trust me, my imagination is pretty out there when it comes to, hey, wouldn't it be gnarly if this happened to that guy's arm?
You see what came to my mind? What just came to my mind when you said that was, why don't you write down your experience and then throw a supernatural twist on each short story?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like it's I've never considered writing horror until this last idea, and I pitched it to Raz, and he was like, "No, I can't write that, but you could." I was like, "No, I can't."
You could have a really good, from what doing the brain cloud brainstorming thing, from what Stefan was just saying. I just got done reading Curtis M. Lawson's Devil's Night, and it's something that apparently took place in Detroit. I didn't realize it was a real thing until I was reading his stuff. But people the night before on Halloween Eve would go crazy in Detroit and like fucking burn down the city and just commit all these crimes, and it just got so out of control the cops couldn't deal with it. And he pulls up all the different urban legends of all the different things that are from Detroit, like the Nain Rouge and the Pig Lady and this stuff. But if you had like a night, like you just wrote a series of stuff as a para of like the worst things that you've gone through, maybe like all kind of taking place over the course of one night, and trying to figure out why you keep getting these calls in and what the hell is going on in the city, that could be super fun.
That's gonna be a super thick book.
But you can make,
I'm gonna tell you, Raz, this poor man, okay, he was with me when I started taking my EMTB class. Like, we've been friends that long. Like, I wasn't even certified yet. He has heard so I'm a shit magnet. I don't know if any of you guys know what that is.
It's a magnet to attract shit.
Yeah, this is the one person guaranteed to get the most screwed up calls and have to work the night of the full moon when they happen.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
but that's part of the fun.
Like,
it was fun for me to listen to. I don't know how much sometimes.
Like, I would call him on the phone.
Yeah.
I would call him on the cell phone from the ER and go, "Dude, do you know what I just took in?" Horrible. And he's
my favorite segment that she used to do sometimes is, "Can you guess what I stuck my hand in tonight?"
Yeah.
It was a nightly conversation.
Like,
that sounds like a trap.
It's fantastic as it sounds.
That sounds like it's up there with here, smell this.
It kind of
is. And like it was great because it got to a point, like, we were doing that when I was doing EMT basic. By the time I was in paramedic, it had gone from, what did I stick my hand in tonight, to, let me describe what this felt like and you tell me what I was doing. That was a good game.
Oh my god. That's my mom's a nurse. James's mom was. Well, does she still do? She's
Only-
retired now.
She is retired, and only for me because obvious.
Yeah, but nurses, when you're sitting around, and I'm assuming paras do this too, you're like, okay, it's time for dinner. And so I was working in the ED one night, and there was a motorcycle accident, and this guy wasn't wearing a helmet. So let's talk about that. Oh, thanks. That makes my spaghetti look wonderful.
See,
right now.
That's tame.
I can stomach it. I can stomach anything now.
But
as a kid,
I was working in the ED late one night.
That pales in comparison, and it's something we all realized we were doing about a year before I quit running. What happens when 10 paramedics show up in the same place to get dinner? And they all look at something on the buffet and go, hey, that looks like the time. And you're doing this in front of other customers. Like,
that
you
actually
don't even realize you're an asshole. Yeah, you don't even realize you're being an asshole. It's like...
I didn't the customer at the buffet that just walks up and takes handfuls of diced ham and sticks in his mouth and goes, tell me more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Because there's always one.
They have spaghetti. That reminds me of the time where the intestines of
you would be surprised. That is true as hell.
I have a thing against the doctors and dentists who feel the need to show you what was inside of you after they remove it without asking first. Yeah, because, baby, okay, yeah, you want to see that, but placenta, not so much. And I get my doctor was just, I just got, and he was just like, and here's your placenta. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. I didn't know that. I didn't want to see that. I don't have to.
Two things happened. He either wanted to scare you into not doing it again, or he just really loved placentas.
He was all a joy. And I was just like, okay. And then the dentist, look what I just ripped out of your mouth. And there's roots connected and stuff. And I'm like, didn't need to see that either. Really. I was fine just having you yank out my teeth.
Look.
See, I was stupid and I signed up to have my foot donated to science. So at the last minute, I'm like, no, wait, I want it in a jar. I want to keep it now. They're like, too late. You signed the paper.
Yep.
They're taking your foot.
That reminds me of that old Stephen King saying, I have the heart of a child. It sits in a jar on my desk.
Yeah.
I love that one too.
Well,
I think it was Hot Shots where just a throwaway line. He's like, I have my father's eyes. Put those away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that Poe who had the... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, wasn't it Poe that had the story where he's looking at the eyes over and over, keeps referencing the person's blue eyes or something like that, and then at the end of the story you realize that he's literally looking, he has the eyes on the table? Or am I thinking of the wrong author?
I don't remember a Poe story like that.
I don't either.
It's something we read in high school, I think, with Mr. Dean's, James. I can't remember.
The Pale Blue Eyes?
I think Wilberding was the one that handled the Poe stuff.
Okay.
And I can't recall any type of story like that. I'm still going through my Poe collection itself because it's kind of a slow burn. All these Victorian era romantic type Gothic tales I have to take slowly and sometimes read certain lines over and over again just to go, oh, okay. And then glossary, all right. So just to get an idea. Sorry.
There was somebody. I know I read it in high school.
So I think you're talking about The Pale Blue Eye, which was by Louis Bayard, which was adapted through his interpretation of a lot of the works of Poe.
Okay.
That might
that's
kind of what you're describing right now. But Poe's done that with The Night Before and some of his detective fiction, something similar. But Bayard just took it to a really in-depth level to what you're describing.
Okay, yeah, I know there's the one where he keeps looking at the old man through the door and his eye bothers him until he kills him. But this was a totally different.
Yeah, it tells you.
I like the telltale heart.
Yeah.
So
I love Poe. He was talking Mr. Wilberding. We had back to high school, guys, but we had some pretty cool instructors.
Were you saved by the bell?
Shut up.
So
but
I have a question. After you finish, I want to ask a question of y'all.
Okay. So Wilberding was awesome because, and this is back before the internet, guys. So keep this in mind. It was in the very early 90s. But he would bring in all of the VCRs with VHS tapes. And those of you who don't know what those are, we would have this big TV that went back, like it wasn't flat, and it would get rolled in on a cart. And then you'd have, like, everybody'd have to scoot towards the front so you could see the screen because they didn't have big ones.
And kids, VHS tapes were like YouTube clips only. They were on what is called videotape. And you had to put it in, which inside is videotape.
Yeah.
It was
you
like
had to rewind
track for audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to rewind them. I have known people who went through that phase and were a bit older, and then were trying to figure out how to rewind their CDs. But I won't get into that. But Wilberding would bring in VHS tapes and all of the old Vincent Price, Edgar Allan Poe movies. I think we watched every single one of them.
He had a couple teachers like that too.
It was, and we also had
Nicholas.
That one I still forever. So that was my story.
Anyway,
so what was your question, Stephen?
Well, this is a separate question, which this is your fault. Who here has been charged by Blockbuster for not rewinding their tapes?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I was just always late.
Also, once while I was working for Blockbuster, I got charged for not rewinding.
I was kind. I would rewind.
I got hit twice.
Oh my God! You still remember the slogan?
Be kind, please rewind.
It was also a great movie.
And most Blockbusters had like the red Ferrari tape rewinder. Maybe they would just have sitting up there.
Yeah, so you had to pay a fine, guys, if you didn't, and then they just sit it there and go, zip. And like, so you paid what, like $1 or $2 for them to spend 5 seconds pushing a button.
I mean, crazy thing, like that was only a real big problem, like the early VCRs, because later, if you just let it play till it stopped on its own, it rewound itself.
You had fancy stuff.
So you had to actively not to screw shit up to not rewind.
Going back to the rewinding the CD thing, going back to my job at the Fremont Radio Shack, we would always have people who would buy track phones, and we would, as a courtesy, activate them for them. So I would go in the back office area, get on the computer, enter in all the stuff for him, and then I would do a test call to the office there, basically to the Radio Shack, and whoever was working the counter while I was in the back, he would pick up the phone, and I would say something like, "This is James. I'm just doing the test call for the gentleman that I'm helping out," and But the guy I was working with that night was from the local college, Midland Lutheran, or Midland University now as it is known. He was the theater guy who was always like trying to impress everybody. Like he was this big tryhard that I always mess with because I just never took his crap, but he was harmless. So he answers the phone and I go, "Okay, so this is so-and-so from the Council Bluffs Radio Shack. We have a customer here who is looking for a DVD rewinder, and we are out of them. Could you, we see that your store has a couple. Could you check and see if they're available?" And I thought he was smart enough to go, "Ha, very funny." But no, he goes, "Well, let me check." And then I hear him walk to the back electronics area of the store.
No.
So I walk back. So I'm like, "Really? Okay." So
we're doing this. All right.
I walk out of the office and I have the phone up and I'm like looking at him, kind of smiling. It was like DVD rewinder. I don't see them here, and I'm like, I finally had to let him in because I was using this guy's minutes, but we had a good laugh because he was stupid, and
I'd be like, "Can you order one?"
I also knew somebody who, when they, you know how they had the tape to CD adapter thing, so you could put the fake cassette tape into your cassette tape holder, and then you could play the CD off of it.
Right.
They were worried because they knew that their tape player used to eat tapes. And once again, kids, you have these little cassette tapes that have this really thin film of stuff on it that things were recorded on, and it would get snagged, and then you'd have to like either screw it back in or it would be ripped, and you'd have to like try to fix it, and it was horrible. And they were very worried about playing CDs on it because they thought that if the tape player ate the adapter, that it would shred their CD up somehow.
Yep.
And destroy their CDs. And I was like, no, that's not how that works. But when you combine technologies through different generations to where like you just get some really interesting results.
Man, I just give you a flash. I had so many positive memories of like being a clerk in a video store. I think I was somewhere like firmly between Randall from Clerks and Randy from Scream. Like I was somewhere amidst all that. But I did cut people's cards up if they were assholes. Like, you're not allowed to write anymore. I just fucking cut that card and throw it like confetti everywhere. We'd party. I once had a dance party, like a 3-minute dance party. That's how long it took this customer to leave my store after I cut up their card. And that was pretty funny. I was just about to go into the worm too. I was lowering myself down and they just walked in.
Okay. There's no smoking in my house, so I'm going to step out for a minute.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll be right back.
Have fun.
We have that effect on people.
Yeah. Me and Dale are chain smokers.
I don't know about you guys, but so many stories from Radio Shack. Like this kid that I used to work with, that we'd have whenever we were rearranging the store for holidays and stuff. We would be allowed to play our own music if it was appropriate and such. And so this kid was like, I'm going to scare the old guy by playing Korn. And I'm like, that's adorable. So I pop in some Norwegian black metal and scare him. There was this band called Frost Like Ashes.
That is awesome.
They're from the frozen north of Kansas City, Missouri. But yeah.
I'm wondering if I know the people that you're talking, because I knew a lot of Radio Shack employees, oddly enough, and theater people from Midland. So
this was the mid-aughts when I worked there.
Oh, okay.
So
I was trying to picture a couple people in my head, and I'm like, I know that one might do it. He might have actually thought that, but he wasn't really full of himself. So
I mean,
James already mentioned hell today, and I thought about not doing my new monologue, but I kind of feel like I have to, because now we're talking about lyrics to songs and things that just kind of reminds me of it, because it's part of this. So I was at my local amusement park recently, the Island of Kings, not what it's actually called. I walked in with a Hellfire Club t-shirt on. I bought one for me, Michelle, B-Rad, and Matt. We all, it was family day. We were going to go on our vacation wearing Hellfire Club shirts. And I'm walking in, and I'm on my cane because I just can't walk it without it anymore around the park. And this young boy looks at me. He's like, "Here, turn that inside out." I'm like, "Okay." I just blew right by him. And then I guess his supervisor, saw it. I guess I apparently walked up to him and he told her, because she stopped me after I went right past him. They're like, "Hey, you're gonna have to turn that inside out." And I said, "My shirt." And I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "Well, it says the word hell in it." And I stopped and I looked at her real serious. And she was, if I had to guess, maybe late teens, early 20s. I looked her right in the eye. I said, "Can you give me a valid reason?" "Well, it's considered profanity." I'm like, "No, it's not." And also, it's the word hellfire, completely different connotation. And I had this whole thing built up in my head because she looked like she wanted to push this with me. And you don't push what a word is to an author. You just don't do it, especially not to me, because I got a big mouth. But I respect her because, in buying the season pass, that means I signed a contract to follow the rules or, risk, being revoked my pass or whatever. I signed that. She was just doing her job. So I recognize this, and I start to calm down inside a little bit before I explode. And she just stands there and stares at me. Like, she don't want talking about it anymore. and I'm waiting for either permission to just for her to go fuck off somewhere so I can wear it, or to tell me to leave the park. And in this time, I'm thinking of all the ways that I can refute exactly what she's trying to tell me. Like, number one, the etymology of the word hell. I mean, hell, period, is either a description of a moment in time for you, or it's a place, theoretically. There's just so many options. It was not included in George Carlin's special. So that's number two right there. It's obviously not that bad of a word. And this list just kept going on and on and on in my head. And I'm thinking of, I got up to like 7 or 8 different, like, complete long arguments that I can make as to why hell wasn't, a profanity. And then finally she says, well, and I was like, okay, man, I'm going to cut you off the chase right now. You see this cane? She's like, yep, I see your cane. I'm like, well, I'm on a cane. She's like, yeah, I can see that. I said, so you got 2 options here. You can either let me go in here with this T-shirt that says this word that's somehow magically offensive to people, or you can tell me to leave, because I'm not going to sit here and turn my T-shirt inside out. That's not something I feel like doing right now. And I'll respect your decision, that this is your job, but you got to ask yourself a real tough question right now. Is this the hill that you want to die on? Is this it for you? And she looked at me and she's like, she thought about it for a minute. I saw this look in her eyes where she was finally realizing that her whole argument was based on, whatever upbringing she had, whatever belief that her and this, younger employee had, based on, presumably religion. But I'm not going to say that that's what it was, because I could be wrong. But I don't think anyone had ever explained any of this to her. Like, so fundamentally, she just didn't get it, and she just thought it was this bad thing. And finally, she looks at my cane, looks at me again. She's like, okay, you can go. So don't wear it again. I said, don't worry, I will. And I walked away. And the very next day, and let me tell you, I walked inside and saw 3 other people wearing the same shirt. We all bought them at Walmart. They're around Walmart, literally the Walmart right next to the theme park. And then it dawns on me, they do a haunt every year, and over half of their advertising every year has the word hell in it, including their T-shirts and like a lot of their everything. Wow. And then I'm to the point where we're walking around now, and we've had 8 different groups of people just compliment us on the shirt. We had a bunch of employees compliment us on it. And we're like, but then if you spend 2 seconds over in Kittyland, where the peanut death camps are, the Snoopy death camps, and you stop and listen to the music. There's this very famous rap song right now about how I don't want to be a side chick. They play it in the kids area. They play it.
Okay.
Yeah, and other songs worse than that, like songs that we grew up with that were not trying to hide what they were talking about. And you're looking around the park and they're like, hellfire was the word today that offended these 2 people so badly.
Chances are you probably just ran into the just right people for that.
The Hellfire Gala is just coming out too right now, so it's like those shirts are going to be a big thing.
Yeah,
if for comic book people, because
between D&D and fucking Stranger Things, it was just so weird. Yeah. Like, this whole situation even happened, and I hadn't had anybody tell me my shirt was inappropriate since like that very famous white zombie Die Fucker Die T-shirt that I used to wear in high school. Like, that's the last time anybody told me I should wear a shirt and watch what I said. And I'm like, fucker, did you see that girl bikini that just walked by that didn't exist? It was just dental floss. You guys have a policy against this. And this woman walked back into the park right before we walked in. Same 2 people saw her and thought that was okay. But my T-shirt was somehow going to damage people.
We got in trouble. Well, not necessarily, but at our high school, Logan View, way back in the 90s, there were 2 shirts that, one of which they allowed, and those were it was the dog for the beer ads.
Okay, Spuds McKenzie.
Yes, Spuds.
Yeah. They were like, okay, well, we don't want people to be advertising this, but we realize that a lot of you have bought Spuds McKenzie shirts, so you can wear them, but Mm-hmm. And then the album For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge came out, and like everybody bought that shirt because they're like, we can walk around saying fuck. You're like, no, you can't.
I remember when Poison came around during their Open Up and Say tour, and they had the tour shirt that says "Blow Your Fucking Mind" on it, and everybody who bought that shirt had to tuck it in to wear it.
Wasn't it you who had the FUQ Iraq?
Yeah, I wrote that with a Sharpie on the back of my jacket during. Yeah, only nobody noticed until Kyle Jorgensen during the pep rally
course
was
it was
sitting
Kyle.
behind me and went, "Oh, I get it." Next day, it was social studies teacher guy. Also co-owned the office.
Oh, Brink.
Mr. Brink. Yeah, Mr. Brink came up and up to me before classes started. I was waiting for the art room to open up, and he said, "Go to your locker and put your jacket in there." And I said, "Why?" He said, "You know why." And I wasn't going to argue with him. But my senior year in high school, before classes, I went to the state fair, and in the merch area, they had a shirt that was kind of a parody of the Nike "Just Do It," and it had essentially an orange slice instead of the Nike swish, and it said "Just Suck It" on the back. And I'm like, this is genius. I'm my 17-year-old brain. And, I bought it and wore it. And that was the only, I made it about an hour before they said, "Put your jacket back on."
What do you want?
You're confusing me.
I remember getting in trouble for the Joe Camel shirts that I diligently saved my Camel cash to purchase. And they're telling me I can't wear a Joe Camel shirt. But yet on lunchtime, I'm one of the people, one of dozens of kids who have written permission from their parents to smoke, and there's still a smoking section for us. But I'm not allowed to wear a Joe. Yeah, they still did that towards I was like one of the last classes they ever did it for. We still had it into like the late 90s.
We just had to go out on the dock, and
we were all going to smoke anywhere anyway. But yeah, that shirt. I like
it.
Well, did you ever you can't wear that shirt, and then you go, okay, and then you just go shirtless the rest of the day at school?
Yeah.
No,
One time I even shook my breasts at the principal. I was just like, ooh, and I walked away. I got a detention that I didn't serve, but it was worth my time.
You had you already had tassels on there because knew.
I was ready to throw some beads at myself. I mean,
I never got a detention throughout all of high school.
Wow.
I got a half one in what's his name's class where he would give out the half a detention because I was leaning back in my chair.
Yeah.
I got kicked out. I got kicked out of the second semester of 9th grade.
What did you do?
Do you know do you know those letters in Penthouse magazine?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Been asked for them.
Yeah, I wrote one to my art teacher.
Dear Penthouse, giggity.
And do you have it with you right now?
Did you say that?
This conversation.
That would be padded cell after dark.
I think she kept it as a memento.
Damn it.
She has it framed. The pages are kind of stuck together.
Oh. That's so wrong.
Oh man.
No,
I have this tendency to do that. Sorry. Not
What?
sorry.
Oh, who was our biology? Mundell.
Mundell, yeah.
Yeah, he was always good for asking for a smoke. He would let you smoke if you gave him one, even though he had like 4 patches on all the time. He'd be like between classes and stuff. He'd be like, "Give it to me, come on." Oh, somebody bumped me in the hall. I was saving that for later. God damn it.
In our high school, you could smoke pot if you knew the janitor. You just had to share it. Get a different key. Hey, go to this room. Yeah, you're cool. No one's in there.
Yeah, we'd go out to the greenhouses and loan Mundell one, or we'd go out to the dock and loan the janitor one, and we'd get a chance to smoke between classes or in study hall.
A lot of our smoking in graphic arts in the dark room under the fume hoods. We just go back there. We're developing something. Our brains.
I remember when we were growing up, our school actually had a smoking area for the students.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah, we had one too. Still in like towards the end of the 90s, it was still there for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one, and I graduated in '99. So yeah.
Cancer terrarium.
We weren't that lucky. Although I did have me and Mindy Kalasek had a permanent pass to go away from study hall, because I can't remember. It was the guy who took over towards the end. It would have been probably your senior year, I think, who started just doing study halls.
I don't recall.
But I can't remember his name either. But we annoyed him enough that he was just like, just go, don't even show up. Here is a pass, put it in your purse, go away. And people would be like, where are you supposed to be? And we're like, away from him, because Samuelson. Mr. Samuelson doesn't like us, so he just told us to go away and to never show up to sign out even. So we're just away from Mr. Samuelson.
I think the reason why our town kept the smoking area for so long is because we were a military town, and I was a townie, and no one really expected us to amount to anything. So it's like we celebrate all the military, but the rest of you, you're probably going to die soon. Sorry. Here's your smoking area as a consolation prize.
That's fair. Accurate.
You know what I'm talking about?
Weird. I mean, like, we drove to school and there were people with gun racks, you know, in their trucks for hunting and stuff. And country kids, you know, back in the 90s, that's just, nobody thought anything odd about it. People are playing with their butterfly knives on the bus and doing all their shit. And
I've just been explaining chains and how the art of chaining your wallet works to Matt, because we got these Marvel chain wallets from Brooklyn's work. And I keep telling us, okay, here's what we need to do, buddy. Like this little decorative chain, this is the top chain. Okay, we don't care about the top chain. What we need to do is order 3 other chains of different lengths, and we have to make a pattern with the chains, and that's what you walk around with. And he's just staring at me like, people did. I was like, yeah, man. Like no one cared about the decorative chain. It was all about how big and thick of a chain you could get. And then if you were really, really crafty, you would bust one of the chains off one of the park benches and figure out how to attach that to your pants. You were going to have to hold it all day because it would take your pants down no matter what belt you had on. But if you could fit one of those, even for a day, you were a god.
It's like, I feel like Kerry King from Slayer now.
This one could get a logging chain and attach his wallet to the back of his truck, and we just all stopped trying after that. We were just done. Okay, you win, buddy.
I had a friend that referred to that as the Mr. T starter kit.
Yeah. I pity the fool that didn't have a wallet chain. I was the only. So I went to my first prom as a freshman, which was everybody knows is a no-no. You don't really get to go unless you're invited. But I was the only date there that had a wallet chain, and all the other guys were like, holy shit, we tried to talk our girls into this. I was like, dude, my date's my best fucking friend. Like, she wasn't gonna tell me I couldn't wear my chain wallet. Like, what the hell? And I only went with three chains instead of 7. You know, I had some decorum about me. But it looked really good with the tux, I'll tell you.
Nice.
That is something that never crossed my mind, honestly, to go with a tux. But now I can see it.
They actually look pretty stylish.
Prom dress, combat boots.
It's very shiny.
Yeah.
My date wore combat boots. You know, she was ready to go. We had a good time. Here's
something funny. So my senior year, I had 2 dates to prom because the person that I called and asked, she said, "Sure, I'll go with you. Can another person, a friend of mine, come with me?" I'm like, "Sure." You know, I'll be the guy there with 2 dates. You know, it was Melissa Plotkin and Joy Rui. So I show up. What I didn't know is something you need to know about me. I don't care what religion you are. And I don't look at somebody and go, that's Jewish. And, you know, that's clearly Islam or whatever. I just, you know, like people because they have something about them that, you know, I kind of want to hang out and talk with. Same thing with Mel. I had no idea that she was Jewish. So I show up and I'm not, you know, I don't have a tux or anything. I just wear a good, you know, clean pair of black jeans and then a turtleneck long sleeve shirt with a crucifix around my neck. And I show up and, you know, her mom and her younger brother answer the door, and her brother Matt has the camera and everything. And I'm standing there and I'm looking around, and the iconography around the house made me kind of go, let's see. Obviously, these guys are Jewish. And here I go, and I seen the pictures. I kind of look like a priest. So,
Or Steve Jobs.
right. But this kind of wraps around to like a few years later. I was, during my time when I was helping out with the youth groups and everything around the area, I went to a friend's Assemblies of God church. I don't know if you guys know anything about the charismatic Pentecostal type setups. And
Hello,
I was
North Carolina.
okay.
I live there.
Okay, fair enough. But I was kind of sitting in now. My old thought process doesn't really line up with a lot of what you would call regular American evangelicals. Long stories, but I was sitting there, and I remember I went to my junior prom, and I went to my senior prom, and then I went to a friend's junior and senior prom after that, and went to the prom a total number of 4 times. And so I was sitting in that the youth group there that they were doing. All the boys were in one room, and all because you gotta split them up because that's bad. But so I'm sitting there, and the guy he's the picturesque vision of what a good independent fundamentalist something or other. He's just big with tie and the crew cut that leaves you with a bald spot you don't really want and everything. His face is kind of turning red, and he was going on and on and on about because this is prom season, and the big thing was you don't want to go to prom. That'll lead you down a road to that, and because
you don't want to go down that road,
right? Because he knew that I was kind of the leader of the youth group, and elsewhere he asked me, James, did you ever go to prom? I said yes, I went 4 times. And he just kind of paused and went, and what did you do after prom? He was probably expecting me to say, we went and knocked boots and everything. No.
We went to Camp Crystal Lake and did drugs and had premarital sex.
Yay. And then this guy in a mask came, and it was a party. but no, I'm like, I went to post-prom.
He was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't talk much.
But he had some great party tricks, though. But I'm like, each and every time I went to post prom, you know why? Free pizza.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I went to post prom, and he's just I was not giving him the answers he wanted. So he finally went, you wouldn't knowingly go to an orgy, would you? And I kind of shot back with, would there be pizza? Because pizza, I wasn't asked to go back again, mind you. So
yeah, likely not.
I came out with the actual meaning of orgy. If you have multiple people in a room without their shoes on, you're literally having an orgy. And
in the state of North Carolina, if that number is 7 people, you can be arrested and fined any amount up to $2,500.
But
ask
I didn't.
me how I know that.
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't really have the heart to tell him that my senior year I had 2 dates and one of them was Jewish. but going back to the orgy thing, I think Patton Oswalt has a freaking.
Speaking of orgies,
I'd sell off tonight.
Right. But Patton Oswalt has a fantastic bit about that on one of his albums. Oh yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Welcome to Skinamax.
That happens every now and then, by the way, Stefan.
Yeah.
Just we all got our little grooves.
These get a little saucy, and we got to play the music. That's Jeremy's song right there.
Wait, how do I do that?
Grew up in the late 80s to early to mid 90s. We know that music.
Oh yeah.
That music, you can be walking down the hallway to go to bed and hear that music somewhere in your house, and your head will whip around fast enough to give you whiplash. We all know what that music is.
Coming up next, Red Shoe Diaries.
Oh yeah.
The hilarity to even have that on the soundboard. I'm like now sitting here going, wow.
I don't even know what all buttons I have on this damn thing.
I used to have, people have the like menage a trois, and they were like, what do you call it if you get going further? And I'm just like, eventually you just call it a menage a lot.
Yeah.
I just called it a fantastic evening.
I call it a party.
It's a party in my pants,
I
and
call it
everyone's
Thursday.
invited.
Oh yeah.
I don't actually call it Thursday. I've been single for some time.
I call those tacos. But anyway,
Right.
well, that just killed everything. Sorry.
I was just thinking about 7-Eleven tiny tacos.
I'm going to be
Yes.
honest. We've mentioned pizza, tacos. We've been mentioning food, and now I'm sitting here going, "Ooh, that sounds good."
I have Ninja Turtle pizza over here, like the big New Yorker, the special
Where
turtle
you at?
edition. I got that today.
Oh, I got to eat Connecticut style pizza when I was at Terrificon, and I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And that's all we ate the whole time we were there, like every night. Casino, 35 restaurants in the Mohegan Sun. All we eat is pizza.
Cowabunga.
But God damn it was good pizza. So I don't feel bad at all. And I love how we're all old enough that we're like, yeah, orgies, but pizza, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but you see, I attach to that word for completely different
Tacos.
You do, yeah.
I do.
Okay.
I attach to pizza for completely
So-
different.
Burrito
You
taco.
were not serious about pizza unless you had a Michelangelo action figure.
Oh yeah.
The
Not
one
just the Michelangelo. You had to have the Michelangelo first ever disguise edition where he did the sewer surfer. Because for some reason, like every kid I know had like a broken up, like half broken version of the sewer surfer figure also. But the
Mhm.
regular Michelangelo was in perfect condition.
Yep.
So my-
I even had.
My
You
mother-in-law
never got
finally
into
sold-
the Ninja Turtles.
No, I didn't do. I didn't have toys. I bought books, but we didn't have like a comic book shop in Hooper or anywhere around there. And in the
Fremont,
library,
really.
yeah. Well, Fremont finally, when I started working, they opened up one in the mall. But
They didn't
the
sell
only
those in comic book shops though.
the only comic type of thing that I had any exposure to until I was working was in the smallest library in the United States at the time, or smallest public library in the United States at the time. They had a copy of Creepshow, the graphic novel version of that.
Yeah.
And so that was like my first, oh, this is really cool. And that's why, like, when I went into comic book collecting, I was like,
Yeah.
Ghost Rider, Sandman, yeah, this shit's really cool. Superman's a see.
Yeah.
He's too happy and joyful. I want these dark comics.
Yeah.
And now we have
I don't think. There you
Yeah.
go. Actually, know one of the early cover models they used when they did the live action covers of Vampiro.
Nice.
But
I
it was
remember
Ninja
those.
Turtles was Ninja Turtles was different because like I didn't know it was a comic. I was I was at that age where I was just young enough to really still enjoy Saturday morning cartoons, and it came out. And I just thought it was a cartoon. It wasn't until years later after I had like the sleeping bag, a broken pair of the roller skates at one point I had those, and like the action figures. And like we would get the discount version of the action figures because they would come out, and we had this store called Hills that would take all the like the normal like the defective packaging and all that, and they'd sell pretty much the same things in the stores, but it was like $1.50 instead of like $5 for an action figure. So we would that's the only way we could afford them. And it wasn't until I started doing comic book shows in my early teens, looking long boxes around for people getting paid for it, that I discovered that it was a comic first and didn't know how like it's dark and bloody history. And then of course I just loved it more, I think, after that.
It's become a bigger part of my life recently. Going back into comics, it's like you can't avoid them anymore.
They were
You got to
great.
get into it. Yeah. So
I started getting into comics around 1999, 2000, give or take, when I first moved to Omaha and I had access to a good comic shop. And I would
real
always,
one.
yeah, and I would always scour the 25-cent bins, and they had some pretty good gems there. One comic book shop, I believe it was Anarchy Comics, if I remember correctly. They're not around anymore. But I was going through it, and they had several back issues of the run of Deadpool, the ongoing series, the good ones. And I picked them
Before
up. I'm
Marvel
like, these
took
are
them
cheap.
over.
Yeah, well, but I picked him up and I took him and I read him and I was hooked long before Deadpool became popular.
Right.
So everything I like becomes either popular or they just discontinue it.
Oh yeah.
I had the same problem with Metallica back in high school. You know, everybody was giving me shit for listening to Metallica instead of the regular pop stuff. And then the Black Album comes out. And the Black Album comes out, and suddenly everybody wants to borrow my collection. And I'm like, really? No. I guarantee you what you're listening to right now is nothing compared to what I cut my teeth on.
Right.
That's when I started like branching out. Like I discovered like, you know, obviously from there I went from Megadeth and Anthrax and discovered like Overkill and various other thrash nuggets that hardly anybody knows about anymore.
Yeah.
He loaned me his albums, though. I was allowed because I listened to metal too. I just didn't have access to it being on sale anywhere.
I remember when I lent you my videotape of
Two of One.
Yeah, 2 of 1.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about, you know, just banging your head in front of the TV and your mom walks by and said something. I can't remember what it was.
I grew up in this weird microcosm for music. His dad really liked the Eagles and, you know, I think his favorite country artist was the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. That song "Fishing in the Dark" was his favorite all-time song. And then for mom, like, you know, she liked a lot of different stuff. They didn't always match it with dad. My grandma liked different stuff. My brother and my sister liked different stuff. And then my cousin, he was the one that was a diehard Metallica fan. So I'd heard them a little bit, but I was one of those reverse situations where my first full album experience, you know, this was a little bit later in my life because I knew who Metallica was. I'd heard songs, but I did my first Haunted Attraction at 12. And there was this one kid that loved Metallica and he played the Black Album on repeat. But it wasn't even all like the normal songs on that album that got me, that drew me to Metallica, that made me then go backwards. And it was A Wolf and Man. I don't know why it was that song, but it was that song that I liked the most on that album. And that's what got me going back to sitting down with my cousin, like, hey, you tried to show this to me like before, and I wasn't, in the headspace for it. So now, like, educate me, please.
Who's Metallica?
See, what I
Napster
really
bad.
That, like, sometimes if I know the crowd, like if I'm working with them, opening up the store, and they're playing something from like the Load album, and they're digging it, I like to say something like, I really like AC/DC.
I gotta say, there's one song I really did enjoy on Load. Actually, it was "Mama Said." I don't know why that one song. That's the only song I liked on the album. That one song wasn't like, it was just one of those songs for me that, like, okay, this isn't their usual sound. It's just kind of a countryish vibe almost, and it was so different from the whole rest of the album. Like, that was the one that still to this day stands out to me when I think of that album.
Okay, now you said Mama Said, and that has, in my mind, it automatically goes 90s to Knock You Out. And then I see what's name with his armpits and chunky deodorant. Like, dude, if you're going to tape yourself, like, get rid of the chunks. That's just gross.
That's kind of like, I can't hear the Vanessa Carlton song 1,000 Miles now without seeing Terry Crews.
Oh man, I anytime I hear any song with the word Miles on it, I'm just right back to the Proclaimers.
Yeah,
just at the top of my lung, just shouting.
I had to drop.
Sometimes I'll just do that. I'll do that part of the song in public. I'll just randomly like, and then I'll just once everybody starts looking and waiting for me to sing the rest of it, I just walk away.
Yeah, have you seen the Proclaimers did a video with David Tennant on the Doctor Who set?
Oh,
yes, and I love it so much.
Like, I can't help but be happy when I see it. It's like, hey.
I watched the WoW version. They have like a troll walking all the different roads in World of Warcraft.
And when the WoW videos were big, like, I will not lie, I used some of my gameplay to make videos, and they're still on YouTube somewhere.
Nice. I always wanted to organize a group when we finally got the ability to control the way that our dragons and our flying mounts went.
Yeah.
And stuff. And then you could do like backflips and stuff on them.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so we got to make like the Blue Angels, and nobody would join me in this because I was like, if we could fly in formation and have somebody else who is flying record it, you know,
So I have
that would
one
be
of
so
the-
cool.
I have one of the Bloodbound Frostbrood Vanquishers. If you ever want to try that.
Nice.
That sounds
I've
like
got
an
some new
insult,
stuff.
actually.
No, so like, okay, so now see, this is where I get to reveal how big of a nerd I am.
Too
I have the
late.
latest update.
Yay!
So I was actually one of the top ranked priests on 3 different screen names on Blizzard for
Nice.
PvP and for raiding. I was one of the first disc priests to go through heroic ICC 25-man and 10-man when it first came out, and I got the achievement. And what it got you was this mount that would only drop like once in a blue moon, and you had to have all the achievements for all those raids in order to get it to drop.
Dude, Disc Priest all the way. Love that. Well, Shadow Priest, but never went holy.
I actually I did have one when I first started playing in vanilla. I actually leveled from 0 to 50 holy, which was not easy in vanilla.
No.
But I did it, and then I switched. I stayed holy through Burning Crusade, and then I went disc. And I specifically did it because this was before WoW gave us cookie cutter builds, and you could pick and choose what you wanted. So I made a disc priest because I got tired of people saying that disc priests couldn't raid. Couldn't
screw that. Disc priests are awesome
because resto druids are the best healers that there are, and you can't ever out heal a resto druid. So I took that as a gauntlet. And I literally spent 6 months working on a disc build and went into ICC with 2 resto druids and out healed them by over 3 million points.
Nice.
So
you go, sister.
Yeah, I was done. But I made a name for myself in WoW, playing a priest. So I have all this limited edition stuff that a lot of people don't have. And it's like, I can go do this if you really, really want.
I always had to play a character that could heal because I don't trust anybody else. So I would have, like, against my will, I would be playing all of these priests. I would have a priest in every server that I was on and stuff, just because I was like, anybody else will let this raid die. But I am the person who I can not only keep the entire raid alive on my own, goddammit, with minimal gear, but I can even catch the guy who ran over to the wrong room and pissed off the tigers in Encourage.
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about, though. Yeah. And keep his ass alive. Stupid rogue.
And
ran out of my distance. And I run back and keep everybody else healed.
Oh, yeah. And when I left WoW, it was funny because I started playing League competitively. And then I started playing Smite. Lo and behold, guess what I play when I'm on League? Support. Why do I play support? Because if you're a good ADC, I'm going to heal you. If you're a bad ADC, yeah, I'm going to build AP and take your lane so I can carry.
What
yeah,
is
I'm
an
that
ACD?
person. Yeah, ADs and League are horrible. That's another story.
He's asking what it stands for.
Attack damage. They're your ranged attack damage characters. They go bottom with a healer so that they can just farm gold and last hit. And when you get to team fights later in the match, because they've had the time to farm all this stuff, if they're good, they will wipe out the whole other team from the back.
2 seconds.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like, especially Ashe. Like, one arrow, all 5 people stun 3 seconds, and they're dead.
You guys are talking about World of Warcraft, and I'm over here going, what about like Ultima Online and like Asheron's Call and like the older MMOs, man?
I did.
I don't think I've never played World of Warcraft, really. I don't think I've ever actually really played it.
I spent years in Forsaken World and Shia and
got
Lotro.
Playing. Why you play WoW all the time?
You played Shia?
No.
Oh,
The only two MMOs I played, well, I don't know. Does Diablo? No, Diablo doesn't count as an MMO. The only two MMOs I really played were World of Warcraft and then the Old Republic because
Yeah.
Star Wars.
You know, I still on my account have the rarest item in all of the Star Wars game, and I didn't know what it was, and I almost sold it to a regular street vendor when I was dumping junk until Michelle caught me. It's the Metal Gear Solid box that you can just hide in for no reason.
Oh yeah.
It's still on my account, and it is the rarest achievement in the game too. Because if I pass it to someone and they just use it, you automatically get the achievement. So I had to pass it around like Michelle's entire guild, so everybody could try it. And I was like, just gonna go sell it, and everybody's like crying, but like literally, it was like just a regular street vendor. It wasn't even like worth anything at the street vendor. It was worth basically nothing. And I was like about to hit the click, and Michelle looked over and she was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Get your hand away from the mouse!" I'm like, it's a box. Yeah, but you can hide in it. It's a box.
there was a great mechanic for, I think it was the hunters or the rogues that could use a box to hide in on Shia. And when you finish this one instance, if they could stay in that, if they triggered it so that the time wouldn't run out before they left the instance, it glitched you out. And so they would just be a box running around town all over the place. So like, you would just see tons of people of that class. I can't remember which one it is now because it's been like over a decade, but just like little boxes with names over them running around town interacting with people until they went into another dungeon.
The only achievement I really remember, and it's only because it had that stupid song that went with it, was I'm on a boat. That's the only one I can remember getting. I'm on a boat.
Yeah.
I'm on a boat. Everybody look at me because I'm standing on a boat.
Yeah.
There is a player like created a mode in Fortnite. It's basically hide and seek. Half of everybody in the lobby has to go around and find people, but everyone can click on any item around them, and it's like a mall. Like you're in a mall. Like the whole game is played in a virtual mall, and you click on an item and you become that item. So like you have no idea which of these items are an actual person until you just start shooting shit. And it cracks me up when the kids play it because like sometimes there'll be a mailbox just kind of trying to run away from people once they've caught, or there'll be like a race car or a teddy bear. But my favorite is the popcorn bucket because when you jump, some of the popcorn comes. It's hilarious, man. I don't know why it fucking cracks me up.
No, I can see it. I can see it.
Oh, we used to do hide and go seek all the time. I was a game sage. We called them game slaves because I interacted between the players and the real GMs. And so we had to spend our time when we were online answering everybody's questions and like holding events for people. And I was known for my trivia, especially the entire month of October. I did horror movie trivia like twice a day or something and give out all these great rewards and stuff. But we do hide and seek, and you'd have to like, hide your character. You couldn't go stealth mode if you were able to, but you'd have to give out landmarks to people, and you'd see all these people like walking around you trying to figure out where you were because you were hidden up in the glitch in the tree and stuff. And that was always real fun. I love it when people do that kind of stuff because they don't have that same role in a lot of different games, but people who are just like willing to interact and like just give free stuff away to people.
Oh yeah.
So
I do that a lot with Fallout 70. I do that a lot with Fallout 76. Like, I take breaks from it. I'm on a break from it right now. But when we play, we'll amass all this shit, and we're such high levels that we do random Christmas days where Michelle and I will jump on our mains and have all this shit we're never going to need, or like triples or quadruples of like insanely rare items that they will never drop again. And we will create these little care packages and go and chill out by the opening area that you first emerged into with all the other players in the beginning of the game, and just stand there with a sack. Like, here you go, buddy. It's Christmas. You give them ammo, like some stuff they can't even quite use yet, but as soon as they can, it's gonna be the strongest thing like they can, period. And then we're like, follow us over to our crafting station. It's just right over through the woods. And then you make them all the armor and weapons that they can use at that level. And these people, like, I've had people like break down on their mics and like cry, like, "Oh my god, are you serious right now?" I'm like, dude, it's a video game. It's digital shit. What am I gonna do with it? You need it. Here you go. People get like really emotional about it. And if you go to the Fallout, the FO76 subreddit, you see entire groups of people. As much shit as that game gets, like the community for it, it's just all people like that. You play for a while, and you join a party with someone that's struggling to get through, a section of the game, and you just help them, and you just sign off and you go. Like out of every game I've played that's MMO, like that's probably the most like loving, caring community, and so odd for a Fallout game. You think everyone would be out for themselves because that's kind of the point of the game.
Let me tell you the most toxic community that exists right
League of Legends.
Well, no, actually,
Dota.
Dead by Daylight's getting there.
The hot thing.
I haven't played that in ages. I've got it on my computer and my PlayStation, and I have not played it since the Friday the 13th video game came out.
Yeah,
and I just never went back to Dead by Daylight.
Start playing Friday the 13th.
Yeah. I never went back to Dead by Daylight, and like a bunch of people I know play it. I don't know why, no reason. I think I bought the Halloween pack when it came with Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, and that was like that was the first big add-on they ever did, and that's the only thing I ever bought.
Dead by Daylight's getting bad.
I need to get Red Dead Redemption, and I need to get one of the controllers, the PlayStation controllers, because I saw the fishing mechanic for it, and it's very much like Dark Cloud 2. Yeah,
Red Dead, yeah.
And so I saw Dark Cloud 2, and it has like you actually like you cast, you grab a hook, your controller is shaking, and you have to like let the fish take the lead, and then roll them in a little bit, reel them in, and then let it go off again and chase it around and stuff as you're building up everything. And I only play games that I can fish in. And somebody showed me that, and I was just like, "Oh my god,
you need
it's
to play
so
My
gorgeous.
Time at Portia. You would love My Time at Portia. The whole thing about the game, it's an RPG, like an action RPG type thing, but mostly you can go around and like you can cultivate relationships with different villagers. You can buy and sell things. You're a machinist, so you have to do these blueprints and make all these random machines and cool shit. But a huge part of the game is literally going fishing because you can sell the fish, you can use them for health to go, and you can also go mining in actual mines. Like it's insanely amazing.
I love trade crafts.
And if you do the game right, towards the end, you get a giant golden flying pig that you can just fly around. It's made of metal. It's a machine that you have to build, but it's fucking beautiful. But you can literally fish in that. Oh, and you can build a museum and then curate your own museum with different fish, like an aquarium, all this different shit, man. But I beat this game like I think 5 times in the last 3 years.
We were playing in Forsaken World. One of the flying mounts you can get is a flying carp, and they're beautiful, like really ornate stuff. But one of my guild members, Platty, was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna look what I just got. I'm gonna come join you on my flying crap." And from that point on, it's like, "We're coming in on the flying crap," and like just all these things about flying craps, getting pictures together on flying craps.
Flying hilarious items in games and RPGs, I think, is where the money is at. I remember I was with this hilarious, very very R-rated D&D party once. We had to fight this giant, like massive cave troll. And for some reason, I had this friend, and I think a lot of parties have this friend, where they just want to chop off the dick of whatever monster you're fighting. No reason. That's what they collect. They collect penises. And you're like, okay, buddy. And so they had this idea, which became a party idea, and we all made this happen. Our cleric cast repose on the penis, and they turned the testicles into, bags of holding. And then they took my broom of flying and shoved it inside, and then painted the whole thing red, and it was Red Rocket. And like you'd see half our party like come flying in on the Red Rocket. I don't even know why that happened. I have no idea why that happened, but it was a thing that happened.
Wow.
I'm going to show you the most ridiculous character I ever played. This was Forsaken World. This guy was Bank Tank, and yes, he's riding a pink princess llama, wearing a bumblebee suit, and yes, that llama is farting glitter. Clouds and clouds of glitter would come out of your llama's behind. And that chicken there is named Chicken Boo. And so I did that.
Recognize him from his younger years as the tap dancing bee in the Blind Villain No Rain video.
We did they had like costume contests, and there were dwarfs, and you could pick people up. And if somebody picked up the dwarfs, it was a stone man, because he was a stone man, they only had men. But if they picked up a dwarf, they would sit them on their shoulder. And so there was another dwarf who was one of my friends. She was marksman, and she had the bumblebee suit and the princess llama as well. And so we had, at one point, they had a costume contest thing, and there was a couples category. And so we like showed up together, and I'd like pick her up, and I had all the different emojis. So I'd like flirt with her, and like she'd flirt back, and it was super cute. And we had people like, we became a hashtag for the event, like bumblebees and stuff. And it was
Bumblebee
so much
tuna.
fun. Yeah. So Stefan, do you play games? Jenny? We're just like game.
Anyone? Bueller?
Yeah, I had like two things to say, like multiple topics back, and
Sorry.
now, like
Drag us back, man. Segue us back.
okay, fine then. Segue back. My mother-in-law
Orgies.
finally
Okay.
gets to go on a cruise. The only thing she eats, when she has the ability to eat all these new types of food, is shrimp cocktails. It's the only thing she ate while she's gone. And then to go a little bit further back, I love the whole Tinkerbell thing. Just please don't give me Patty's Tinkerbell.
No kidding.
I don't want her.
Tinkerbell. Oh.
She will eat you alive and dead.
Yeah.
Patty wrote a very fun, evil Peter Pan that,
It was epic. It is epic.
yeah, it is out there. You can get your hands on it. I don't know exactly how to link anybody to it right now, but
I have
Is that-
multiple links on the page. I can re-put more links on the page.
if you go to our page and hop on Patty, that it's a really good story. If you like Peter Pan and cannibalism,
Yep. Hop right on her.
darkness.
Two great tastes that taste great together.
Do you like Peter Pan? Do you like cannibalism? Boy, we got a treat for you.
I was just thinking, watching Peter Pan, the Disney movie, you know what this movie needs more of? Cannibalism.
Cannibalism.
So did Patty.
Patty
And
needs
then
more
she made it
cannibalism?
happen.
I used to work with somebody who believed that mermaids were real, like really
Yeah.
real, and he was trying to convince me that they were. And he's like, James, don't you kind of wish that mermaids were real? I'm like, yes, I want to know what they taste like.
Mhm.
Do they go with tartar sauce? Do you have like some kind of like lemon? Are they like salmon or a nice light flounder type?
I think we have a very recent, positive, evidence that mermaids exist. And let me explain. The Barbie movie features John Cena as a mermaid. And I can no longer say that mermaids don't exist because I can't see them, because I believe in John Cena and I can't see him either.
Okay.
I'm missing a lot here.
Oh,
Okay,
John Cena,
his
the
ca-
wrestlers. His whole thing is you can't see me. It's his whole tagline has been.
Okay,
for
I've
years,
seen
so-
people
You
doing
can't
that, and
Yeah,
I'm
John
always just
Cena's the
like,
Invisible Man. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
just play,
okay.
I'll just play some thrash metal, okay?
See if Matt was here. He'd have gotten it.
Anyway,
Stop. Oh, that worked out perfect.
Or we could go the Toph route where she can't see you.
Yep. Yeah. That works.
Hello, I'm blind. I love Tom. I'm sorry.
See,
I do too.
that just makes me think of a movie that we haven't watched yet on Tomb of the Terrible called Helen Keller versus the Night Wolves. It's
Lord.
Lynn Shay, the actress, recounting her playing the grown-up old version of Helen Keller, recalling her life as a werewolf hunter, and it is fucking brilliant. It has a number of a couple people from The Office are actually in it too. It's hilarious.
hold on. So, Helen Keller.
Versus the Night Wolves.
Where can we find this cinematic?
I haven't watched it in a bit, but it exists. It's out there. I'm pretty sure the same company did FDR, American Badass, where Brad from Rocky Horror plays FDR, and he's also a werewolf. It's the same company that makes them. They make a couple weird movies like that.
Did you ever see? What was it? Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies,
Yep, actually, one of my friends played Abraham Lincoln in that movie.
where he was telling telling I can't remember the kid's name. It was a future president. Here, speak softly and carry this. And he hands him a stick.
Yep. I thought you were going to go
Nice.
Bubba Hotep at first.
No.
That was the movie that
Bubba.
kicked off that trend, though. And the most believable story as to what could have happened to Elvis for real, I think.
I don't believe in Elvis.
Oh, Elvis believes in you.
Okay, Keanu. There you go.
What was it that Tommy Lee Jones said in Men in Black? Elvis isn't dead. He just went home.
Yep, Elvis
Yes.
isn't dead. He just went home.
Our good
That was
omens.
epic.
Death
Well,
says
that's
he
the-
never touched him.
But yeah, I mean, his whole thing was like he was Elvis, got tired of his life, so he traded he traded places with the world's most popular Elvis impersonator, and then lived his own life as an Elvis impersonator to make some money. But when it came time to switch back with the original impersonator, so he could be Elvis again, the guy didn't want to not be Elvis anymore. So there was a big thing, and then the real Elvis's trailer burnt down, and his all his proof evaporated, and he landed in a nursing home. And that's what the movie is about. It's Elvis in a nursing home fighting a mummy.
And
Great
his friend there is JFK. His brain was transplanted.
Yep.
Into the body of an old guy.
An old African American man who was in a wheelchair. Yep. It was a brilliant movie. Hey, same people brought us did the film adaptation of John Dies at the end, and the
Mhm.
oh, excuse me, I couldn't breathe for a second. Oh my God, it's one of my favorite horror film series, and my brain just died. Oh God, I'll remember the name in a second. I'll tell you what else.
Twilight.
Cube.
No, wasn't either of them. Now you got me all
And I
screwed
have
up.
it now posted on our page, but I was wrong. It's under her pen name Serena Musgraves.
Phantasm.
Okay.
Yeah, they also made the
Yes,
Phantasm
that's-
series.
Well, good series.
I haven't watched those yet.
Oh wow, man.
Balls gave me nightmares. I didn't have nightmares about anything else in the movie, just the balls.
Yeah. I actually have a lot of personal information about some of the people that were in those movies. Just some really good
I
experiences
too
that
am
I had
afraid
growing
of
up.
balls.
It's a really good series, though, man. It's really interesting the way they do everything. And the coolest thing to me is they show you the difference. And this was the first time that I understood the difference between apocalyptic and dystopian, like as a kid, was because of these movies. Because you're in this world where all the bodies are getting turned into these other dimensional creatures. And there's this guy named the Tall Man that's just literally taking over the whole world, one small town at a time, because no one pays attention to small towns. And you get to a point in the series where the heroes are going through all these defunct towns, and you want to say that they're apocalyptic, but they're not. They're definitely dystopian because they've all got their own little societies and how they've survived. The Tall Man and all these different the stories. You get to the point in the series where they start picking up people that have survived. And I remember this one part of one of the movies. They see this house. It seems like there's a lot of supplies there. They check. It doesn't seem like anybody's living there. They notice all these booby traps, and it's this kid that survived. Everyone in his family is dead and completely gone, and he's had to figure out how to survive all these terrible things that are trying to kill him. So he makes traps everywhere. He goes to the sporting goods store and he wears like a football shoulder pads, like this whole piecemeal armor sort of situation. It was this really cool setup that they had. And plus, anytime I think of a shotgun, I think of the shotgun they make in the movie, where they basically take two double-barrel shotguns, they mount them together, and then they cut both sides off at an angle. And for some reason, it is still like the coolest cinematic shotgun of all time.
Okay. Cool story, bro.
If you've not seen the shotgun, you got to look it up. It's great.
I don't know. I spent this weekend rewatching the Kill Bill movies. So
Oh, I love those.
yeah.
Those are good. They are on Amazon Prime for free right now.
Yep.
I haven't watched them for a while.
I just got done binge watching the third season of Picard because I'm a giant Star Trek nerd.
I gotta watch
And
that season. I haven't watched it yet.
the first season, I got done watching that and thought, this is bullshit. I'm not watching any more seasons. And then for a couple of years, I kept my promise. Until another friend of mine was describing season 2 and season 3. I'm like, no, wait a minute. So these are standalone seasons. You don't have to. It's not a continuation of the bullshit that they ended on season 1. And he said, no. Of course, it involves the Borg, but it's a different take on the Borg. And
I haven't watched any of it, so you're saying it's worth it?
Oh, I love
I'm
it.
saying 2 and 3 are worth it. You kind of go through the first season and just kind of suspend disbelief if you're really into like the lore and everything. But
So my to watch list right now is first season of Good Omens, the second season of Good Omens.
Great season, by the way.
And
Haven't seen it yet.
I'm kind of torn because I keep hearing really good things about the series Yellowstone.
Oh my God, yes. Watch it now. Stop whatever you're watching, whatever you're doing, and just watch that show first.
Well, finish the podcast first with us.
Well, yeah, finish that. Yeah.
Yeah, finish that, but
Josh's
No.
entire family has said we need to watch it.
Honestly, I wanted to watch it for a while, and then Dell watched it, and there was a couple things you said to me about it. Like, you didn't give me any information, but you were in the period of watching it, right?
Yellow Jackets is what I watched.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. I'm sorry. I just completely
No, not
spaced on the
Yellowstone.
show. Yellowstone I also liked.
See, Yellow Jackets is the one that everybody tells me that I
Yeah.
really need to watch.
That's the one that I
It
thought
is
for some reason
so
in my brain.
good.
In my stoned ass brain, I
Okay.
thought we were talking about Yellow Jackets. but I
no,
didn't.
I'm talking about Yellowstone.
Yellowstone's
Oh.
really good, but watch Yellow Jackets.
Yeah,
I-
do you watch Yellow Jackets?
Cole Hauser is in it.
Yeah.
And I liked him when he first showed up in Pitch Black.
Oh,
Like, even though he was an asshole,
yeah.
I really liked him as an actor because he pulled it off well.
Oh, yeah.
And then he did a couple of other movies, and I was like, man, he's really awesome. And then didn't hear anything from him for a while. And apparently he's in this series now. But everybody keeps telling me I'm gonna like one of the female characters because she's crazy. She's just crazy.
So
Like, good crazy or bad crazy?
A little bit of both. I know who you're talking about. A little bit of both.
Yeah, they keep saying I'm like her, and I don't know how accurate that is.
Close. Not entirely accurate, but close.
I can live with that.
kind of going back to the Yellow Jackets. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I've
Go.
been wanting to ask this to like Uncle Necro for like since I found out about it like 2 days ago. And well, now Raz, that I now know that he may have seen it. The dancing, singing Klingons on Discovery. What were your honest thoughts?
First, it was Strange New Worlds that
Okay.
the musical episode came from,
Okay,
and
it's world. Thank you.
and I would say it's in keeping with a theory that I had all these decades about Klingons. Like, why are they so mean? Why are they so, wanting to get this image of, big, strong masculinity, just, must die in battle? It's because they love boy bands and pop music.
See, I haven't actually watched the show yet, and I was laughing because a friend of mine, like, that was his, like, selling point to me as to why I needed to watch the show, that particular scene.
I've
That
had,
was my friend's selling point as why I should not watch the show.
Oh,
But
I
then
gotta
again, if it's not the original Star Trek, he thinks it's BS. You can probably guess the friend's name.
I disagree that episode was fantastic.
It sounds awesome to me.
Every episode needs a musical episode. If
I take
it's
a lot of
right.
shit from everybody, though, but Kirk will always be my captain. I love the original. I will always love Kirk to death. And I've liked many other captains, but, like, he's still my captain, man.
well,
as,
yeah, no
as far
doubt.
as musical shows go, I think the Magicians killed it. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
they
they
just
did a good job.
they
Maybe their song choice I wasn't always pleased with, but, I really.
but they
I
had
liked it.
great singers. Hale Applewhite is amazing.
For me, it was how they did it. It was how they did it. They made whatever, even if I didn't like the song that they were doing, or I liked the song that they were doing, just not how they were doing it. It was the way they went about doing it, like the throwbacks to the different characters, the scenery behind them, the changes. Like, that's probably the most breathtaking way to do, like functionally to do, I think, musical episodes.
So, with the Yellow Jackets, going back to the Yellow Jackets, I was discovered that Florence and the Machine, they did an interesting cover of "Just a Girl" by No Doubt. That when I listened to it, it got under my skin.
Yeah, same. It was surprisingly good, man.
They did have a very good soundtrack. They grabbed from it was, and it's a very good era for the whole. That I couldn't decide. You know, you always have to be like, which character do I relate to the most? And when I was very first tuning into it, I'm like, oh, well, I kind of have a little bit of the Misty vibe. No, I don't.
No.
Oh my Jesus, I do not at all.
It depends on who we're
in
talking
the first
about,
episode.
right? I could think of one human being on this planet that you would definitely give Misty vibes to.
Okay.
You've been asking me to kidnap him in a van for you from a con for years now.
Yeah, maybe, but I wouldn't like go all.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You don't have a little bit of misery in you?
No misery. No Annie Potts. Not gonna go cut off his legs. I want them there.
Okay.
They are a part of him. I want him
Just
whole.
a little bit of poison.
Healthy.
Just a scotch.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a
No,
little pinch.
just give him some good bourbon. Hopefully he'll just stay calm. You know, keep him down there. Hey,
Keep
it's okay.
bourbon on.
Come for the kidnapping, stay for the bourbon.
Just look at me with those big blue eyes, and that's all I need.
You might as well go ahead and tell him who we're talking about.
Oh, Brad Dourif, my boyfriend
Oh,
that
okay,
doesn't
yeah.
know it.
Yeah.
See, I knew that.
Okay.
Yeah. He doesn't know it, but we've been in this very, very nurturing relationship for the past few years.
I can attest to the witness of their love.
And I've watched. We've talked about how many times I've seen The Exorcist 3, but now I have to say, because I've crossed the level, I have to stick it 37 times because it's a quote in the movie. He's seen "It's a Wonderful Life" 37 times. So it's like when you're getting older or something, I like, it's my 15th, 39th birthday. It's like I've seen it 37 times, 12 times. Does that make sense? Does that work? Yeah.
I don't think it needs to. It's a padded cell. It makes sense because you say it makes sense.
And he's in a padded cell in that movie.
See, that's the segue.
The whole thing is filmed, and George C. Scott is all nice and shouty, and I love that.
So that kind of segs into kind of an idea I had for maybe kind of a list thing for tonight. What are your comfort movies? Just you throw
you
on.
got to give us a number cap
How
on this.
many
Like, yeah. How
are,
many?
of them are you wanting?
Let's cap it at 5. Just do
Five?
the 5.
Okay. Who do you want to start?
I don't care. Raz.
Oh shit. Okay. Talked
Or,
about it too many times.
I don't know. Mariah seemed to have a list.
Yeah, let's do Mariah
by
first.
her.
Oh, mine's simple.
Okay.
Okay, so
Star Wars.
life generally sucks. All the Star Wars movies.
I was about to say, yeah, Star Wars.
Like, I mean, anybody who knows what my gamer tag and all is, it's obvious. The second set is obviously the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The one that I try to get to put me in my normal sarcastic sense of humor, the Indiana Jones trilogy. First 3, not that crap Crystal Skull shit.
Or the new one.
I don't know. I'm waiting to pass judgment on the new one because I would really like to think that because it's the last one, they're going to get it right.
Right. Last one. Sure.
Oh, like my last one. Stupid. Army of Darkness.
Not stupid.
Not
I love Army of
stupid.
Darkness.
If that is stupid, you've just called my whole entire family stupid, and I think that an issue.
Oh, she knows my long love for
Well,
all things Bruce Campbell.
you have to understand, not a lot of people down here know what that movie is. And when you quote it and people look at you funny, they're like, wow. My
I'm sorry,
movie
you should have been adopted in the Howard household.
awesome. Raz can tell you my taste in movies. I like some of the weirdest stuff out there. About as much as I like Weird Al, which is also something that is not common down here. So, I'm kind of that black sheep that's like standing in the middle of the herd.
You fit in great here because listen to Weird Al as a kid, listen to Weird Al with my husband, and it's just a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
one of my ex's aunts dated Weird Al.
That was probably the best relationship ever.
From what I understand, it was kind of weird.
I think I would go insane, honestly. Like, because there's no way that he is not bipolar. There's just no way. And
if he is, he has a
and that's
really
fine.
good grasp on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine and all, but when people get to where I just can't. I obsess too much over myself and the things going on with me, like trying to walk across the room without falling, or making everything shut up inside my head. And so I like, and it might not. I'm not saying like everyone, but the experience I've had with a self-medicated bipolar individual who like was like up, like only slept 3 hours a day and was like, okay, I'm going to watch Zeitgeist for the 17th time this week, and you're going to watch it with me again because we have to. And like that level of obsession was just like,
I'm going to tell you, yeah,
me off.
My movie taste fluctuate depending on what's going on with me. When I'm being obsessive, like there's one movie I watch pretty much on a loop, and it's I get it. I completely get that. Like,
yeah, when you're a kid, it's one thing. When you're an adult, and I have to go out and turn off. By the way, you ever date anybody or live with somebody who watches the movies on the DVD and then lets them go back and they're the movies that play their introduction song over and over again? Having to wake up and turn off the goddamn introduction song to Kentucky Fried Movie.
Yeah, I actually like that movie, but I cannot imagine wanting to hear that song that many times.
That song is the worst thing in existence. Like, I even rank it worse than Mule Skinner's Blues. Oh. As far as like just annoying, dragging songs that get in your head and won't go away.
What about the song that shall not be named?
Oh,
your most reviled song.
Wait.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say the name because that'll just make her mad.
Yeah, it's even worse than that. Yeah.
See,
I don't know if people have had to survive it.
I have a song that makes me throw stuff at people because I absolutely refuse to listen to it. So I'm wondering if it's like that.
I have one of those. It's like,
okay,
you mention it, you're kicked out of my place.
Yep.
It's just you're gone. No, I can't stand that song. So
yeah.
It's in my head right now because we're talking about it, but I don't want to say it out loud.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you, mine's a country song.
There is a country version of Dell's song.
There is one country song that I swear to God. Yep. I literally walked out of work one day. I was like, I'll be back in 2 minutes, y'all. I cannot stand that song.
I need to leave the place where this is happening. Yeah, if that went on the radio, I'd just be like, gone. Done. Over, never listening to the station again. Fuck you, Spotify, you have it, so never. Because you randomly throw things in, and it would just happen to be on my list somehow.
Hey, Jenny.
Yes.
What are your 5 movies?
My 5 movies. I just sent you the 2 first interviews that we can put up on the thing. My 5 movies are like The Conjuring, everything. Not Nightmare, but Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Yeah.
That's a good Kevin Spacey flick.
Oh yes. Let's see. Blues Brothers 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Let's see. I watched it, the one with Tim Curry, and then I put Dreamcatcher on. Those are like top 5 ones I keep watching over and over.
Nice. What about you, Dell?
Well, number one, obviously, is Exorcist 3. Any mood I'm in, I can go there. Number two, and this is going to sound weird, possibly, but because this is one of those where it's kind of a tie, even though they're they're very different movies, but they have the same feel. It's when I'm depressed, but I need to watch something even more depressing, if that makes sense to anybody. But Trees Lounge and Ghost World, both Steve Buscemi movies, and both just rip your heart out and just soul crushing kind of, but not hugely, just kind of like shitty things just keep stacking enough that it breaks you. It's not like shocking things so much. Session 9.
Oh, it's a good
Love
one.
that.
Because I can't get enough of it. It's such a nice slow burn and just a beautiful movie. Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland or Adventures in Nightmareland.
Yep.
Is a old cartoon one, but it's based on the Little Nemo comic strip, and I just loved watching that with Maddie and stuff, and I'll still watch it by myself because it's just that sweet. And then this is a really weird toss-up for number 5, but depending on the mood I'm in, it's either May or Drop Dead Fred.
Oh, love Drop Dead Fred.
I can attest to Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah, that one makes me happy.
We just talked about that.
As a fan, I know you like Drop Dead Fred. I caught that really quickly.
And May is the really tormented, awkward thing. I like a lot of Vincent Gallo movies because they're just incredibly uncomfortable to watch.
Mm-hmm.
He is able to pull off uncomfortable like nobody's business. Like the beginning of Buffalo 66, it's like the first 15-20 minutes of it, he really needs to go to the bathroom. And he keeps not being able to go to the bathroom through the whole thing. And I'm pretty sure that during it, he really just had to go to the bathroom while they were filming because, that's a weird uncomfortability, but then every like conversation is really stilted and the characters are always really like not sure of themselves or like just really strange. And the guy is awesome though. Like he's kind of an asshole based on a lot of the things that I've read that he's said, but I used to write him emails every now and then because once I was just like writing an email to vent everything that was in my head. And I was like, you don't have to read this. I doubt you go through all of your stuff anyway, because who would do all that? But I just need to vent, and I needed to send it somewhere. And I've been watching your movies recently, and I was really impressed. And so I sent it to him, and he started writing back to me. And he'd just be like, hey, this is how to sorry you're going through some rough times. Here's some thoughts on doing it, and, keep up struggling and go to strive to be better and get through everything. And so every couple of years I would just like send him an email and he'd send something super nice back. So
hell yeah.
Like I think some of the asshole image that he puts up is just there to be an image, Or
Yeah.
I don't know, but he's a great actor and musician also, which like people don't know that much about his music, but he records stuff on like really old equipment, like in his house. Just it's really odd and kind of depressing shit, like he is, but it's also very pretty. So,
oh yeah.
So yeah, that's another genre of if I need to feel like I'm not the most uncomfortable person in the planet, I can watch him and be like, okay, awesome.
Hell yeah.
You are much harder to be around than I am.
Right. My list, 16 Candles is still one of my favorite all-time movies. It's definitely on that top 5 for me for comfort. No surprise, Nightbreed, still one of my favorite movies of all time. Blair Witch probably also is not a surprise if you know me. The ones that, Big Trouble in Little China is also on my list. I'm sure people can gather that one. I think my surprising one would probably be Dragnet with Aykroyd and Hanks. I don't know why. Cannot tell you why, but to this day.
That's a good movie.
It gives me the same vibe that Big Trouble in Little China has, because me and my brother as children both pretended we were in both movies, and we played games instead of like cops and robbers and whatever, cowboys and Indians. We would literally play Big Trouble in Little China and Dragnet, and that's I don't know why. We were very odd children. but like those two movies. But I think the thing I watch on repeat over, and this is like at least once a month, is I play the original It miniseries, and then right after It Chapter 1 and 2. Like it's like a whole half a day. I just sit there and I recite now every word from all those things. Like I don't even need to know what's going on. I can hear a background sound effect, and know where it is, and from a room over, just quote all the dialogue, and people are walking in from the other room going, like, yeah, I know them all that well.
Yeah, my repeat movie has been 13 Ghosts lately.
Oh, I love
Good
that
one.
one.
Yeah.
Tony
I don't know.
Shalhoub, Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm stuck on it.
I was okay. So
When
I was
a
going to ask if
teenager, yes.
you're talking about the original or the remake.
I'm talking about the one with Tony Shalhoub and
Okay.
Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard and all them.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
I love watching the way they did the house and how it moves, and then the background stories on all the ghosts. Because I will sit there and flick through every one of them. Let me tell you, it's just what I'm stuck on right now, and I don't know why.
The way they did the house was very reminiscent of two other projects I can think of offhand. The Cube, especially Hypercube, where like the way it would rotate and stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of the way they did the house in 13 Ghosts. And the other one was Hellraiser Bloodlines. When you found out the giant satellite he was building in space was just a giant box to trap the Cenobites in again. Also a similar setup, because like you're seeing the space station start to form into the box, and immediately you're going, yeah. And then you watch in 13 Ghosts and you're like, it's the same thing, but like just so different and like new somehow.
Yeah. It was beautifully done.
Oh yeah.
It really was. It's beautifully done.
See, I like the fact that they incorporated the whole glasses concept into the movie itself.
The glasses concept. I love the etching on the walls as it moved, like the spell etching.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
I want to add on there, when you're talking about just gorgeously filmed movies with houses and things like that. I love haunted house movies. Like Amityville's up there. All the haunted Abattoir, by the way, if you haven't seen it, is amazing. It's a reverse haunted house movie kind of thing. But Rose Red is Rose Red, House on Haunted Hill, the remake.
The reverse.
I'm gonna go.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah.
They're just
Jeffrey
so
Rush
gorgeous
playing
to put
Vincent
together.
Price was brilliant.
What, House on Haunted Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
When I was a teenager, I just watched those two movies, House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts, over and over. And
See, those Dark Castle remakes were really onto something, but they kind of petered out.
They did.
So Dark Castle went belly up.
Yeah.
Well, that's.
But I mean, they also did, and it wasn't really a remake, but it had the best and most numerous head decapitations in one scene. Ghost Ship.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love that movie.
Oh yes.
Like, they had a really good concept on how to revive that particular genre, because even when they were presenting us something that we had seen before, like House on Haunted Hill, you know, we all watched Vincent Price's when we were growing up. So when we heard they were remaking it, of course we wanted to see what they were going to do with it. They did a phenomenal job. That company had every chance and every possibility of like renewing that genre and making it great again. And then
apparently I'm wrong. Apparently they still exist as a company. I forgot that they were the ones that put out the Orphan movies. So they just put out the new Orphan movie last year.
Okay.
Did you watch that yet?
I have not seen the prequel, but I really want to. My wife's seen it. I just haven't seen it yet.
I watched it like 2 months ago, I think, something like that. It's as fucked up as the first one, definitely.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Is Orphan the one where the girl is like actually an adult?
Yeah.
And she's homicidal or whatever? Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
It's
good.
Yeah. She comes on to the dad and everybody goes, yeah.
Yeah.
What are we watching?
There's a very famous picture that is an actual real picture of the actress. She's like at a Walmart or something. There's like a discount movie bin. And she finds Orphan in it and picks it up and just looks at it and poses for a picture like, what the fuck? Why am I in the 99-cent movie bin?
Oh wow.
That's been floating around for a while.
You're all
I
going
can't
to
stop
die.
thinking about 13 Ghosts because I think my biggest crush of the 90s was probably the Angry Princess Ghost. And all of the 90s, like that was like, man.
Well, see, I remember watching that in the theater, but then when the DVD
Same.
came out and the special features where it had the backstories of all the ghosts.
Yeah. Yep.
The Black Zodiac, yeah, where you got to go through the Black Zodiac and all, yeah.
Yeah.
That, and I'm going to tell you, casting F. Murray Abraham as the uncle and having him do the voiceovers for the ghost stories,
Oh, yeah.
phenomenal.
I need to sneak out because we've broken almost 2.5 hours, but I'll be right back. James, I'm just saying this because I don't want you to do your movies until I get back.
Okay.
So, okay.
So
We'll
did
find
anybody
something
else
to
see
talk
Story
about, I guess.
Crazy?
Good
that
close up.
Nice.
Extreme close up.
Anyway,
Yeah, I'm
So-
more and more hopeful about that Wayne's World 3 they're still talking about.
really?
You
Okay.
know, I still haven't watched the new Bill and Ted.
What?
It's
How did
it's
they
actually
do?
pretty good.
It's
I
amazing.
really- I love Bill and Ted. I love the first two. And when they said they were doing a third one, I was like, oh, I still want to watch this. And it kind of got lost in the shuffle because that was right around the time that I moved for work and there was a whole bunch going on. And I
Yeah.
kind of forgot about it for a little while. Somebody said something today and I was like, oh, that's right.
Dude, it is so good. Like, you know me, I don't get like emotional, but I'm not gonna lie, I teared up a little bit watching that movie. It was that good. And I remember like plenty of times when the band when Freaks first started like touring and doing crazy shit. I would it was you, me. I don't remember. There was a couple other people. I would get you guys together and I would make you guys watch Bill and Ted 1 and 2 before I went off and did a show.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times we all sat and watched this movie.
Now, what's really horrible, you guys need to understand, I was never physically there
Nope. We
I
would try
was
and sync things
literally-
up.
on the cell phone with him.
Or the computer.
Watching- We were trying to sync up movies.
It was a that or AIM voice chat on AIM.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Since you brought up Bill and Ted's new movie, and I have been a fan of hers ever since watching The Babysitter, but Samantha Weaving,
Oh man, I love her to death. She's
She
amazing.
is
Can do anything.
underrated.
I mean, I believe it was the movie Ready or Not.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just fantastic movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it, see it. But
I love
the Babysitter, and then the second Babysitter, which was surprisingly good as well.
I love both of them equally. Yeah, just differently but equally.
Yeah.
You all be really happy to know that I just about killed myself, but I noticed it ahead of time and I didn't.
Nice.
Yeah, she didn't fall down a flight of stairs like some people.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, my hair is down
Oh,
and it
snap.
knocked.
You know what? Fuck you, sir.
I want to know, how did you fall down the stairs?
Okay, so
We find this funny for some reason.
Well,
So-
She survived. I'm doing my
gravity,
job as her
I-
friend, where I laugh, but I make sure she's okay. You know, it's a
he's
thing.
laughing first, but then he's putting out his hand going, you sure you're good.
Yeah, yeah. But he didn't call 911.
Yeah, are we calling 911 or not? So, man, okay, so I have a real life job, and I work for a company that delivers food to your door. And in the position that I'm in, if we don't have enough people to deliver, I have to deliver instead. We have low cost housing in this area, in our delivery area, and I went to deliver food to a customer, and I've had leg problems for the last 10 years because I did enough damage when I was a firefighter and all. Got the order to the door, money exchanged hands, told the customer bye, went to go back to my car. I went to hold on to the railing to go down the stairs, and apparently nobody thought it was a good idea to let people know that the railing is not bolted down.
Oh, Jesus.
no.
So, it was one of those just perfect moments where I had stepped down and I'm as short as I am, so it was an awkward angle. And the way that my hand was sitting, my body went one way and the whole of the rail dislodged about 3 inches.
Wow.
Pushed over. I had like a split second to make a decision, which was okay, do I hold on and hope that I hold on to the rail and hit the ground okay on the other side? Or do I choose to push off the rail and kind of throw myself back and see what happens? Yeah, I chose option 2.
That sounds like a you option.
Yeah, it was the better option at the time. So I pushed off the rail because it was still kind of being crazy and I wanted to get as far away from it as possible. And when I did it, I landed with my back on the stairs and slid all the way down the landing.
At least you weren't like Exorcist level falling down the stairs, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I had chosen the other way, I probably would have. Because like I had no clue it was gonna move that much. It looked like, you know, it was bolted in, but apparently they've been doing repairs on that particular complex and they're just like not telling people when they start working on something and then stop. So yeah, made it to the bottom, and I will admit the first 45 seconds was, oh my god, people probably just saw that. And then the next 45 seconds were, okay, is anything broken?
Yeah.
Can I move? Can I do this?
I really thought this story was going to be like, well, I owed $1 million space bucks to Pizza the Hut.
Yeah.
Well, I'm beginning to think that between Raz having to use a cane now and that, and the fact that I spent the very first Batted Cell episode broadcasting from an ER room for a little bit.
We have a theme.
I bring my leg for you.
Well, I have my leg sitting back here right now on my foot. So,
Well,
oh my god, you guys could enter a foot race together.
uh,
oh wow.
wow.
I didn't think anybody gave you that look but me.
No.
The bad thing is not
We've
even
gone
my
through a
leg.
lot of foot related puns, but that was only the second one I've done so far.
That's my father-in-law's leg.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, so my my picks.
Yes, the movies. Circling it back.
Movies. I do have some a couple of runner-ups that almost made the list, but not quite because I only set it at 5. First one is the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode of Cave Dwellers.
Yes.
That VHS tape has been played so many times. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
you've never seen it? Sit down. We are watching it. And it was
Hell yeah,
just
man.
ultimately quotable. I think it's that, and yeah. Anyway, but like Pod People kind of comes up close too. But Land of the Dead, believe it or not, I like to throw that on. It's not one of Romero's best loved entries in the Of the Dead series, but I enjoyed it.
Please
I
tell me
like
you heard
it.
the recent news.
What's that?
Twilight of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
Twilight was originally a movie he did a long time ago that only people in back rooms of conventions have seen for decades. The Romero estate just announced this last week that they're officially going to make a full finished version of it. You know, refilm it and everything, and all these people are coming together to like get it done. And it is the definitive end, as it was always meant to be, of the whole series.
Yeah. And the third one for me would be the Dark Knight Returns for the runner-up. It's the Christopher Nolan take on the Batman. I like to throw it on. Gives me,
Oh, yeah.
but the official
I like the
5.
Dark Knight ones.
Now the
I like
official
the first
5.
two.
The official 5 are the first 6 Star Trek movies with the original cast.
Okay.
I mean, even the odd ones.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like them all.
Yeah, I like them. But then all the Star Wars movies. This includes all of the trilogies. I actually liked them. Deadpool 1 and 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Then the Crow, the 1994 Crow, The Crow. It's
a great one.
And then the final one is Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
We were just talking about his death on Unprinted Pages.
Yeah.
I was never a fan of that movie. I like him, but I never really liked the Pee-wee character.
Okay.
Just
fair enough.
I think
just
I was
a
at the
weird
right
neat
age.
thing.
I was at the right age to like really get that in the show for some reason. And my weird sense of humor even then.
Yeah, I just
Pee Wee Herman and Ed Grimley.
I must say.
My favorite Paul Rubens role was him being in Flight of the Navigator as the robot.
Yeah.
I loved him doing the voice for that. I think live action, my favorite is probably Four Rooms. I was just telling Jenny on Unprinted Pages how like it was really Paul Rubens that introduced me. Everybody would think it was Pulp Fiction based on my age, but it was literally finding out that he did this movie with some guy named Quentin Tarantino made where he was a bellhop for all these rooms and all this weird shit happened, and they talked about Alfred Hitchcock in it, and I was like, I gotta see this, and I fell in love with Tarantino because of him. Like he brought me there.
Yeah.
Nice.
I forgot he did that.
Yeah.
Paul Rubens was my gateway into understanding what drugs are because he was in the Cheech and Chong movies.
Yep.
Out of nowhere, Pee Wee Herman's there, so I'm like, I want to watch this.
Yep.
See, when I was 12, 3 things happened that convalesced and made me. It was kind of a zeitgeist moment for myself. I discovered 3 things: Weird Al Yankovic, Mad Magazine, and Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Hell yeah. Very amazing things to discover.
See, and maybe it's because of how they did programming down here, but like here, Pee-wee's Playhouse was on right before the Ed Grimley Adventures.
Yeah,
so those two
same here.
kind of went hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And like it makes me think about weird things because from there you jump to like, for me anyway, Ed Grimley was Martin Short. Martin Short makes me think of the Three Amigos.
Same.
Three Amigos makes me think of Steve Martin. And
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle. Yeah, you can't. It's like 6 degrees or 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon all over again.
Yeah.
It's like everything from that era is like, oh well, and then there was this and this and this and this and this.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I found out because of IMDb that I am only 3 degrees removed from Kevin Bacon. It was when you're on IMDb and you have like a paying account, they will throw up random facts about you. They will analyze your filmography. They'll go through and everything. And I found out that one of the people I started with in Slashers Gone Wild had actually acted like right across from him at one point and said, no. Yeah. So yeah, because I was the 3rd degree. It's Kevin Bacon and the person that I was in a movie with and me. So it was this weird fact that I had no idea. So when I was doing all my acting stuff and taking it seriously, like that was my claim. I was like, dude, I'm only 3 degrees from Kevin Bacon.
Which made me
That's
floor.
hilarious.
I was like, bet.
Yeah. Yep.
Bet, bitches. But you know what? Nothing will beat like the moment that I was like, hey, I might actually be somebody in this writing thing someday was, what was it? It was like 6 or 7 months after I released Dark Fury. And they were doing the MST3K fundraiser to try and get it back.
Yep.
And I had tagged Mark Hamill and I said something along the lines, I thought you might want to know, because he had just done an interview talking about Mystery Science Theater and he was waiting for the day that they would do Star Wars. So I had tagged him in it. That day he retweeted me. I screenshotted that shit, put it on my computer, my Facebook wall. Like, I was all over the place. I was like, you know what? My life is complete. Mark Hamill retweeted words that I put on the internet.
I went to Kinko's, had a friend.
Yeah. And my best friend, who is also a Star Wars fan, every time it gets brought up, spits in my direction and walks off for like 15 minutes. He's mad about it. It's fine, but you know, and I have to be honest. You know, a lot of these connections I wouldn't have were it not for Raz. Like that is the craziest thing ever to say. But like Mark Poe, John Kasser, like it's to meet Raz is like all of a sudden, holy crap! I know people.
I did talk to Mark the other day, briefly. I think we're gonna be able to get him back. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
He sent me a message going, "So you doing, interviews and stuff anymore? You writing anymore? You gonna write that next zombie book, or am I good for a while?" I'm like, oh.
Burn.
If you want to do an interview, I can get you on the show.
Yeah, the first one only got written because Mark was like, "We'll fix it." Okay.
Yep. Actually, I might try to get with him. I've got to go all the way down to New Hampshire. I think it's either towards the end of next year or the beginning of 2025. So I decided when I get my master's and I finish it, which I found out I'm only like 7 classes away, which blows my mind. I actually want to go to New Hampshire and walk because that's where the brick and mortar version of my school is. And so I've been thinking about who all do I know over there? And now I got like all kinds of people that I can go stop and visit with, like between here and New Hampshire. So I'm really excited about it. But like I just want to keep going. So I need to go all the way to Maine. If I'm that close, I might as well go.
Well, and Mark's like, you can still come up here as long as you bring North Carolina IPAs. I was like, how many do you want?
Yep.
Like North Carolina, if it's not strapped down to a Bible, they're doing it in their basement. So, because like, dude, just in the last year and a half between Fayetteville and here, and I only moved an hour and a half away from Fayetteville, like 9 new different breweries.
Jeez.
I shit you not. All of them doing, North Carolina homegrown IPAs. And, he's collecting IPAs and beers from across the country.
Yep.
So when I told him I was from North Carolina, he's like, oh, yeah, you can come up here. We'll stock Stephen King and Steven Tyler. But you need to bring North Carolina IPAs. I was like, bet, dude. Yep. I can bring you a whole carload.
I think Stephen King splits his time between Maine and Florida now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like Mark's ass lives where you can stand in his yard and spit within either one of them. It's like, okay.
Nice.
So yeah, I kind of want to go stock, but I don't know how bad that'll look later.
On the police report.
Don't worry about future you. Just worry about now you. You know what I'm saying?
Worry about now you.
There are just some instances you got to be like, this fuck future me for a minute. Like,
how horrible would it be if we both ended up in New Hampshire at the same time?
That'd be epic, man.
The state would not survive.
We'll just have to go a little bit farther.
Yeah, we just gotta go a little bit farther. Ooh, speaking of, did I tell you that I had finally found a beer-like substance that I could drink?
A beer-like substance.
Okay, so it has this. It had a little bit more alcohol content than beer, but Raz can tell you, I could not stand the smell of beer, any beer. I can't drink it. It makes me gag. It's horrible. So all my friends,
I'm still that way.
Yeah, if we went out to a bar, they'd drink beer, and I'm just kind of there, unless there's hard liquor involved. But that's neither here nor there. We were looking for something that I could drink like they did. I didn't like Seagrams, and I didn't like, a lot of the stuff that they had to offer. PBR made a hard coffee for a little while. That thing was adult fucking yoo-hoo. For anybody who doesn't know, it was literally the alcohol content of a Smirnoff, but it was chocolate beloved goodness. It was awesome. But PBR was like, oh, we're not making enough money on it, so we're gonna quit making it. So for like 2 months, I've been raging about this because I would go to Darts, drink PBR coffee, go home, and then they quit. This weekend, I found out that a new company stole the recipe and started making hard coffees. So I get to drink again, when everybody's drinking around me. I'm a little bit happy about that. But I always meant to say something to you because you're like me. You didn't like beer. And I was like, I found something we can drink.
We used to make Crane River, a brew pub that I worked at. They do their normal beers, and then there would always be a new beer for each month or whatever, couple of weeks. And they did a chocolate stout ice cream, but they would also make a coffee stout. And one time they made a chocolate raspberry coffee stout, dark chocolate raspberry coffee stout. Oh my God. It was, I like just a plain stout too. And I'll do an IPA. I'm not big on just a Pilsner,
Well,
but
I gave beer the college try. I kept trying for years.
Yeah, I get you. There's just some things that
couldn't do it. And when I tried this, the first night that I had it, the bartender that handed it to me, everybody knew I didn't really drink alcohol when I was out because I couldn't stand beer. They handed it to me and I was like, oh, that's nice. Didn't realize it had alcohol in it. And 14 later, they're like, wow, I've never seen anybody stay up that long. Thanks, I think.
Dad and Long Island iced teas.
Man,
took about 6 of them to knock him down.
I still like the occasional Long Island if I'm out somewhere. I'm just not out. I'm not out places that often these days.
Yeah.
So before I developed diabetes, on pub night I would go, and I'm not a drinker myself. When I go out with Dell up here once in a while, when we actually get around to it, I just have Diet Coke with grenadine in there, Skinny Roy, that kind of thing. But on pub night in Omaha with the Exalted Geeks, I would show up about maybe an hour or so earlier because my job would get off before theirs. So I would show up and I would get a pitcher of the Barks root beer, which kind of looks like a regular pitcher of beer because of the head and everything. And I would just take, and then they would give me and my brain's starting to shut down here. Sorry. Basically, it was a pint glass. That's the word I was groping for. A pint glass, and I would just sit and drink and read or write or whatever. Apparently, one night, one guy was out with the rest of his dude bros, saw me kind of drinking, just taking pint after pint out after pint of root beer, thought it was regular beer, and he thought, I can match him. So he got a pitcher of the regular beer he was drinking, and just every time I would take a pull, he would take a pull and everything. And of course, as we all know, the problem is there's no alcohol in the Barks root beer. This guy was getting slushed. And finally, his friends had to carry him out, and he stopped by the table and went, I don't know what this is doing. It's great. And then his friends were like, he's giving you props for out drinking him. And I'm like, oh, okay. Didn't have the heart to tell him what was going on here, but it was fantastic.
You're a hero in that man's eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for the record, Barks over A&W any day. Just saying.
Oh, quick thing if you're into the coffee stuff, Jameson's, if you like to drink Irish whiskey at all, they make a cold brew Scotch or Irish whiskey. Now,
Nice.
which is it for me. I enjoy cold brew coffee, and I enjoy bourbons and scotches. I'm not that big on the Irish whiskey, but I can deal with it if it's what's there.
They see what's big down here right now is they do Jameson as a shot, and they follow it up with what's called a pickleback.
Oh yeah. But if you like it, it might be something you might be worth looking into. I don't know, to make a mixed drink with, or if you just enjoy sipping. I'm a bourbon sipper.
Well, see, they have come up with so coffee is like a main staple in my house right now. They're down here. I have discovered 3 things in the last 2 months that are just phenomenal. One is called Grind. It is literally an espresso coffee liquor that you pour out
Nice.
in shots for mixed drinks. It tastes like coffee, it looks like coffee, and it does not smell like alcohol. So if you use it, it's kind of dangerous
Okay.
because you don't know it's there. They have done a new, it's called Java Cream Moonshine. Also, I think you posted a picture. You've had some.
Not me.
There was somebody that posted a picture of it online. But they've done a moonshine that's like literally made out of coffee. Actually really tasty. But they paired it with, there's another one in that same line. It's a banana pudding moonshine. Also dangerous.
I'd imagine.
And tasty. So tasty.
We used to make a drink. I think it was a flaming orgasm or something like that that had 99 bananas in it, and then it would have, and it had like a chocolate and like a Kahlua. It was like 99 bananas, Kahlua, a little bit of cream, and I think a chocolate liqueur on top of it. And it was awesome, but it was like, whoa, you didn't need very many of those. Because none of them taste like alcohol.
Well,
although your suddenly sinuses are clear because of the 99 bananas,
oh yeah,
whether you realize it or not.
Oh yeah.
Well, and there's a Godiva chocolate liqueur now. So the amount of times lately that I've like, hey, let me make a mocha coffee drink and ended up asleep on my bed for like 4 hours. Lot. Because I mean, you can't tell. And even if you're trying to be mindful and you're like using regular coffee and watering it down with regular creamer, it's still a lot. Like that one shot is just powerful stuff.
I once upon a time made a drink that to this day is still legendary. People still tell stories about the Hallelujah. I was stranded in Toledo for like 2 weeks.
I remember this story.
Yeah. And my friend was like, my friend Laura was like, yeah, we have some alcohol if you want to drink. Like, just, take whatever you want. I looked at all the cabinets and I see like a little bit of slow gin left, a little bit of amaretto, a little bit of Southern Comfort. None of them on their own was enough to like have like just a nice big drink. So I mixed them all together and I started looking through a fridge and I found Faygo Cola. If you don't know this about Faygo Cola, it tastes pretty much the same flat as it does fresh. So it's a really good cola mixer. It's one of the better cola mixers. So I just kind of poured them all into this giant cup, what was left of these bottles, topped it off with a Coke. And I remember I'm leaning back in this chair and I start drinking it. And before I know it, I've drank the whole thing. This does not taste like liquor at all. Does not at all. And it got its name because like I drank so much so quick, I went to stand up. And I'm talking like, you guys know I like my big gulps. So I'm talking like big gulp size cup of this thing. And I go to stand up and I just fly back in the chair and my feet are in the air and I just screamed hallelujah. And everybody comes running. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, no. I just made this drink. It's hallelujah. Make it for me. I can't because I just took everything you had. So they all went to the store and bought like copious amounts of all these ingredients. And I made it for everyone. And then the recipe that I invented came back with me to still in Ohio, to Dayton. And I just started making it for everybody. And there were groups of people like from my high school, like, hangout buddies, like other musicians who then passed it to all their friends and all their friends. So like half of Ohio is now drinking Hallelujah, and it's this big like thing all of a sudden. And then I realized one day, because I accidentally like made a big batch of it and left it in the fridge, it turns into cold syrup. But it's like magical coffee and cold syrup. Like you can get drunk the night before and just put it in the fridge, and a couple days later when you're not feeling well and you drink it, it takes your cough away, your cold is gone, and like you just burn right through your whole fever and everything, and then you come out the other side like it's a whole like second miracle situation.
Now he's traveling the country in one of those wagons where he can open up and
yes,
drawn by horses. He has a snidely whiplash thing going on. Come on.
That makes me want to grow that now. I love Snidely Whiplash.
Try Pirelli's Miracle Elixir. Sorry. I had to.
Exactly.
I had to.
I did feel like a snake oil salesman though, man. Like totally.
So I found out that Death Coffee has a very interesting result on me. Or, well, I don't know if it's a result. I have a very interesting reaction. I drank 4 cups of 18-ounce cups of the coffee and proceeded to just fall asleep and confuse my mother-in-law and my husband so much.
Death coffee, like you mean like Death Wish coffee?
Death Wish coffee.
Okay, I haven't tried that or Deadly Grounds, but I'm not a hugely
Ooh.
coffee drinker. But like, I know all the people here want to try both really badly.
Dude, you need to send me your address.
Okay.
Because I've got like 12 bags of the Death Wish coffee
Nice.
here at the house.
I'm sure Jason will appreciate it too.
I may or may not have a connection.
Nice.
Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Gotcha.
It's great coffee.
It is.
I'll sip it. I'm not a coffee guy. I'm a hot chocolate guy.
So you know the story behind Death Wish Coffee, correct?
Mm-mm. I don't know anything about the company at all, actually.
Okay,
No
so
one's given it.
Okay.
let her look it up. It's probably best because it'll be far more accurate because I only know like the watered down version.
Just make stuff up. I find it works for me.
Everybody's got their own hold music, but for me, it's always the Girl from Ipanema, the instrumental music version.
Look, the one that I want is one I saw on Facebook a couple weeks ago. A guy and a girl teamed up, and they literally did it like if you called the Death Star and you got one of those automated service things. Thank you for calling Vader and Associates, your destination station for world solutions. And I'm like, I would so have this. Oh, if I could. Anyway. So Death Wish Coffee. The only reason I know about it is because my husband was 26 years in the Army. Apparently, the company was started by a soldier who left the military, but because of his time in the military and how they lived on coffee, kind of brought back this like super potent coffee bean recipe. And it's supposed to be like the most intense, the most caffeinated, the strongest coffee that exists on the planet. So of course, you know, we're from the city that has the biggest Army airborne installation in the United States.
Yep.
So Death Wish Coffee, kind of like crack. You turn a corner, somebody's got it. It's fine.
Right.
So when Randy got out of the military, I kept buying coffee, and he was just like, "Oh, this coffee sucks. All this coffee sucks. All this coffee sucks." So I finally forked out the money, which was only like $3 extra for Death Wish Coffee, and it was gone in 2 days. And I had to go get more. The stuff is extremely potent. Like, I thought maybe, you know, it was just because it was him. No. That man took a whole thermos of the stuff. And mind you, he's got my son drinking it. So the two of them drink it. They're fine. It's like, okay, business as usual. They gave a cup to somebody at work. And that person, like, looked like somebody had put them in some kind of shaker and just put the lid on it, shook them up, and then let them loose. It was like watching a cartoon.
So it's like the Futurama episode where Fry had his 100th cup of coffee.
Yeah, it really was. And I'm like, "Are you okay?" And they're going, "My heart's racing and I'm sweating real bad." I'm like, Need to go home?
Yeah, I'll walk. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hits the speed force and
Yeah. They've
Tron.
gone to plaid.
Honey, why can't I blink?
Like,
They call me
honestly,
Hummingbird.
the squirrel from Hoodwink. Jump, 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 jump. That is what it was like. It was
Fucking love
horrible.
Hoodwink.
So again, they did it to somebody else. Same reaction. So I'm like, okay, apparently this stuff is kind of. These two drink it like it is just normal coffee. I finally tried some of it. I didn't even get a sip in. I was like, I have had fire station coffee that is weaker than this, and they make mud. Ugh.
I already experienced like time warp phenomenons constantly, and I feel like if I just tried it once, it'd be like, oh, 3 hours went by. No, it would be like 3 or 4 months have now gone by. I've sped that far.
You know what? I would not doubt it, my bro. I really wouldn't. Because, like, it scared me. One sip of this stuff, and it is so bitter. Like, my tongue tried to retreat from my brain.
And I put cocoa powder and sugar in it and had a hot cocoa coffee.
Nice.
Yum.
I never really thought about doing that. That might actually get me to like drink like small amounts of coffee. I used to love coffee, and then I ruin my insides.
Oh, I buy huge the containers of cocoa that are like this big.
Yeah.
And just mix cocoa and coffee together all winter long.
I never thought about that. I just like hot chocolate flavored hot chocolate, I guess. But I might try that actually with coffee.
I'm gonna be honest. When I drink coffee, it's Starbucks mocha coffee with peppermint mocha freaking creamer in it because Girl Scouts Thin Mints.
For a stretch, for breakfast, I would just get a large coffee and mix it in with like the vanilla flavored meal supplement shakes.
Yeah.
That they have. Just kind of do
That's
that.
good.
It works, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Since we're about 3 hours in now,
Holy shit! Just got time warped already.
Even though this isn't really a normal show, I want to give a shout out to our folks at Chewy. Just because. So I'm going to show off Hinata a little bit here. And these are old photos from my old really crappy phone, really first so give the quality. But this is a little girl that you hear in the background sometime on one of her favorite toys ever from Chewy. You can chase a little ball around there, and then the scratched out parts are where they get to. It's a scratching post inside, basically. So that's what she has laying all around there. It's not food. It's cardboard that she has clawed out, and she would always sit on it and not let her brother ever play because he liked that toy. You wouldn't let her play with anything, so she would just sit on that all of the time and not let him have it.
And if you have a dog and you go to Chewy, they have wonderful flattened squirrels. Just letting you know.
Pre-flattened
Squirrels. Max loves them.
I saw a pre-flattened squirrel the other day.
And this is the best Chewy thing ever.
Is the box.
Yes. I am not giving it up. My house was furnished with Chewy boxes until the other day. I finally got help getting them all carried out and emptied. But it was like, instead of going to IKEA, I just went to the Chewy box section and built up, all these different shelves and levels and things in my apartment. And
we have to be careful with the Chewy boxes because our cats play this game. Well, really, Crowley plays a game that HPL doesn't understand, where Crowley plays in the box. He lures HPL into the box. Then as soon as HPL jumps into the box with him, Crowley jumps out, moves the flaps over with his hands, and jumps up on top of the box and traps HPL in the box. We once saw them sit there like that for an hour.
I once
and he falls for it every time.
I did the thing where you cut out holes in them so that they can get each other.
We do that too, yeah.
And Yeti didn't Hinata tried to play with him. And it was one of the very few times that she was ever playful when he was around. But he didn't get it. He would just kind of sit there and be looking and then stick his head up through it, and just be the biggest derp. She'd go try to hands down and from the side, and he didn't play back. He was just it's a hole. It's another hole.
The one thing that HPL learned is that when the flaps opened, it's a trap. that he will not now leave the box until he's sure that Crowley's gone, because Crowley traps him in there for a few minutes, and then kind of hides over to the side of the box and lets the flaps open and waits, and then plays whack-a-mole HPL for like a couple minutes. And then he traps inside the box again. This is just a cycle. So now he'll still get in the box like a moron, but he won't lift his head up until he's certain that Crowley is just nowhere nearby.
Every time you say Crowley jumps on the box and traps him in there, all I'm hearing is, "Hello, boys."
His name was a combination of that particular version of Crowley and, of course, Aleister Crowley.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
I know you know that, but not everybody knows.
Works. Well, if it makes anybody feel any better, I don't have a cat. I have a dog because cats kill me. And my dog's name is Max. And what he does with Chewy boxes? Yep. He pulls them open.
It's ungodly.
Yeah, he pulls them open and then gets inside and rolls onto his back and lays in them with his feet sticking out of the top.
That's cute. You have to get a picture of that. That's adorable.
I think I sent Raz the picture of where he said hi.
Yeah.
Or the video. Yeah,
the video.
I actually got him to say hi. I was like, holy shit. Okay, I need to stop.
Having the dogs, that would be a great Chewy advertisement too. To be like, look at this.
Yeah.
All the toys sitting outside. The dog is in the box. Like a toddler.
Yep. The cats don't give a shit what come in those boxes. They legit just want the box.
It means we are going to get peanut butter. Yay!
Choosy dogs, choose Jif. Sorry.
No,
Okay.
We're getting slap happy.
Yeah.
It's getting
bruh,
late.
I've been there. Not gonna lie.
It's been a crazy couple of weeks, so really, I haven't got a chance to sit down and talk to Mariah even longer than that. But the rest of you, I've done a lot with Jenny actually. Jenny and I have gotten to do some one-on-one stuff here lately, and run some stuff together. But I was really missing everybody, man. And I just was like, you know what? Today's Monday. After Unprinted Pages, we have not done a random show. We always said if we wanted to do a random show anytime we wanted, we would just grab everybody and do it. And I thought about it today. We're almost now at 3 months. We're not too far off from 3 months now. Yeah. And not once. So I was like, you know what? Today is, I need the therapy day. I need the padded cell today.
So any of you watching, we're just chilling, hanging. You can feel like you're part of a group of friends who keeps talking over each other. And so you never get a word in edgewise.
And layers of conversations. I've noticed that some of us are having different layers of conversation too, which is awesome because it really simulates actually hanging out with your friends. Fucking amazing.
Dude, my brain went. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. Go ahead.
My brain has connected so many things together. I was watching Poltergeist: The Legacy earlier, and a
TV
Crowley
show.
Yeah, the man who
show.
in real life is Crowley from Supernatural's dad was on there.
Yeah,
but so was Death from Bill and Ted's.
Mm-hmm.
William Sadler, good man.
William, and then I'm watching him missing with the Dybbuk box. And the only thing I can think of to yell at the TV is, "This is why you die and become Death on Bill and Ted."
Yep. This is your prequel, buddy.
Connected like that, but that is my brain.
Better than a Dybbuk sofa.
Yeah, there you go. It's that moment where you just look at God and say, "They Melvin me." That's your excuse.
Yes. So, this is also the first time that we've done a show where somebody other than you gets my obscure movie references.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. All of us are pretty much the different versions of the same human being somewhere.
Yeah,
it
Scary.
Confuses me how my parents were the ones that introduced me to Mad Magazine and Weird Al Yankovic, and Uncle Necro. He discovered them in a different way.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay.
Yankovic.
I will never say it right, and he can smack me. And I
am silently judging
my whole entire life.
I don't think that was silently at all. I'm just gonna say.
That's a potato.
You judge me more quietly than that, man.
That I
At
am.
least 3 times today.
Judge me loudly. It's fine.
That sounds strange.
Judge me loudly with a
Judge
fistful
me
of Crisco.
He judged me loudly with his song.
Oh, I gotta go away.
Here we go.
You guys go. Well, you picked us.
I did.
You
Like,
chose us.
Literally, the way he got me here was, "Hey, you alive?
Yeah. Are you home? Are you home and alive?
Are you home and alive?" Yes, I am home. Yes, I am alive. But hurting. What do you want? And he was like, "Well, we're thinking about." I was like, "Yep, bet."
You want to join the madness? Sure.
I was literally in mid sentence telling him, I'm not sure if she's gonna come because she's hurting today. And I got halfway through that sentence and you popped up. I was oh, never mind.
Yeah,
this task of typing up the interview questions, and I'm like so far brain into that. He's like, "Hey, checking in. Why haven't you put a thing up yet?" I'm like,
On printed pages, yeah. It's like 9 minutes till oh shit.
So I'm just wondering, at what point do we all forget that we're actually on a live broadcast?
We're on a live broadcast.
At
Right.
the beginning of the
Yes.
show.
I forgot about that. Like probably 5 minutes after it started.
We're on a
Yeah.
live call that everyone can see, and only one person is watching. Hi, person. I don't know who you are.
glad you're with us.
You
sure
do smell an awful lot like flowers.
And according to Raz, you look different when you're asleep.
Yes, you look different when you're asleep. That's like my number one line. Like I use that so often is JB at the haunt. And like people have weird, different visceral reactions to that. Sometimes my favorite one is they start to laugh a little bit, and then you see that moment in their eyes where they've actually finally really heard what you just said. They're just like, and then I walk away and I'm gone.
So Dante sees your Cthulhu, and he and his Cthulhu, he helps Cthulhu try to hug it. Yes, I'm watching the walkthrough of the haunt, all 3 of them with the 3-year-old, and he's just happy because his friend is on TV.
It's so cute.
I gotta give you guys I'm gonna give you guys the lights on probably tour of the haunt soon. I'm gonna have somebody hop on the StreamYard and like private record or whatever so you guys can actually see it. I might do that on
Nice.
Sunday actually because it's what you guys see with the lights on. It's so different. And there's so much new shit that obviously I just can't get on camera and show everybody because that would be bad.
But yeah, we can do the private room, and then I'll have to bring a little small monster who wants to see too.
I'll give you guys.
And all
I'm
you
in charge
people
of
who are
tours.
hearing about this right now are just like, well, shit. I want to see it.
Come to Hell's Dungeon, conveniently located in Dayton, Ohio.
It's
funny.
around
Very
the station,
convenient
and
for
I'm in
me.
Texas.
Our opening year this year, our Family and Friends night is September 8th, but our opening day is actually my birthday. So last year, Family and Friends was the birthday, but now it's like the opening of year 4 of this haunt. So I'm really excited. I'm nervous about it because I'm doing more with the acting department than I did before and some other things. So I'm super nervous. Like this is our make it or break it year. So like I'm totally paranoid and nervous as shit about the whole thing. But I'm also like super excited to like have that day be like, that's the last day I'm probably ever going to work at a haunt on my birthday. I'm gonna be lucky if I survive enough years to come back and like be able to haunt on my birthday. And even if I am alive, dude, I'm not going to be able to get up and do that. I can barely do it now. So it felt like one of those moments like this might be your last opportunity, man. And my boss was like, oh, well, you can take that day off, dude. Go do it. I was like, no, I'm not going to take that day off. And then the very next day, I'm going to be right here with you guys doing a campfire.
That'll be
Like
awesome.
I've done with Dell for the last, this will be year 3.
Well, I should have something new up for that date. So,
And that'll be September 10th.
all right.
Well, I know that my schedule is about to get a little bit loopy.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow is Dart League, it's City Dart League, or local Dart League. But this Saturday, I'm in Apex on the women's state team.
Nice.
Next Saturday, I'm in Greensboro on the women's state team. The middle of September, there's another state match. Then the state invitational, I actually qualified to go. That is September 29th through October 2nd.
That's fucking epic, man.
And
That is
then I have Bullshooter the weekend of, I want to say it's November 8th.
Nice.
I'm going to the one in Pennsylvania. I think I'm going to the one in Pennsylvania this year.
Oh, very cool, man.
Pennsylvania was cool to drive through.
Oh man, it was so weird though. Like you slept through giant chunks of it, but like the whole state was just fucking fog.
Yeah.
Did you hear what the Robert, my driver from the hotel who took him back to the airport, said? He's from Pennsylvania, and it's technically a rainforest.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I didn't quite realize
no
that
idea.
until I heard you say that on the Dorkening the other day. I was like, holy shit, yeah. It makes a lot of sense, dude. But like you're driving tonight, and I've been through Pennsylvania before. I've been through other, some parts of it going in different directions, but I'd made that drive through it before. And that particular night, the way the highway is separated, like we're watching, me and Michelle are watching all this incoming traffic. You cannot see their tires. You cannot see the road. And it looks like just cars are floating like along by you. Like you're actually in the water and not even on a road. It's
like,
messed up, dude.
Like Randy's from Pennsylvania.
Right.
I've been there more than once. I do not like driving up there just because of that.
It's fucking weird. We loved it, but it's fucking weird.
It was the first time I'd ever seen fog like that. Like, we get fog here every now and then, but whoa. Dude, that was like, stop because you can't see anything anywhere.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how Michelle drove through it. I've got no fucking idea, but she was confident. She did too. We were making up some time. Like, she was a champ on that one, dude. She said she absolutely loved it. It freaked her out a little bit, but like, it was in the passenger seat, as high as I was. It was cool as fuck.
Size of bears, just so we're clear.
Yeah.
Those deer are freakishly large.
The weirdest thing about driving through Pennsylvania is actually, when we got near, oh my God, I talked about the name of this town like for an eternity, and now my brain.
Centralia?
Thank you. I'm just brain dead right now. When we got near Centralia on the way there, no fog. That section of all the off ramps over there was the only section of Pennsylvania we drove through that did not have fog.
It's probably the heat.
It was so weird to just like, you think Silent Hill, the rest of the state, yeah, it's very Silent Hill, but you get near Central, nothing. And then when we went back during the day, large chunks of Pennsylvania during the day was still fog. But again, it was 14 minutes quicker on the way back if we went through Centralia. So we're like, fuck it, that's a bucket list thing. And we got there. And again, the towns like Ashland, some of the stuff nearby, it's very foggy. But as soon as you roll into Centralia, it's just, the fog just stops. It's like the fog won't go there. It's like void of fog. It's weird.
Wow.
That would have been cool to check out.
But
awesome.
Yeah, I normally go to Bull Shooter in Myrtle Beach. But this year, because I actually qualify in 2 events for Bull Shooter, the Myrtle Beach weekend was clashing with the state tournament.
Gotcha.
So I have to go to either Ohio or Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
And it's looking like it might be Pennsylvania unless the Ohio one is before December.
Where is it at in Ohio?
Last year it was in Dayton.
Okay, fuck yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Actually, I should know that. I should have known that.
Yeah, I told you. I'll come up there and yell at you. It'll be great. You can watch me throw sharp, pointy objects. It's fun.
Hell yeah. As long as it's not during haunt season, because I'm chained and I'm not allowed to leave.
Yeah, I know.
He has the seat, and he greets people, and he talks shit at them, and they either enjoy it or they're scared out of their...
So what he's good at.
And those videos were like the nicest version of me, because I didn't want to like go too far, but any other customer walks through there, oh, it's a million times worse.
Sound like
such an asshole.
Did I just skip? Like, did I zone out? Because I just skipped conversation, I think.
No, we were talking about PA, then we were talking about darts, and now we're talking about the haunt again.
Okay.
I don't think you missed anything.
All right, I guess I didn't catch the transition because I was
it just happens naturally.
Oh, okay.
Because Ohio is just like a weird thing.
Okay, yeah. I was just like, whoa, I'm missing time.
Well, he can't be there if he can't watch the darts if he's at the thing, and then somehow, for some odd reason, my brain described.
Thank you.
What I do, yeah.
Okay.
Because I was so curious, and I found videos, and he knows what I do. I just go through and I find things. I have one of his albums saved on my phone now.
I still have the original release from when he was traveling with Freak. I still have all that stuff.
Oh shit! You have the Aardvark EP then?
Yes.
I forgot I sent that to you. Yeah.
Yes, I have.
It was like a couple of the tracks before we cut the whole album. Yeah.
Yeah.
That and When Lemurs Attack, the single we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have all that stuff.
A friend of ours
leaping
owned.
lemurs?
No, a friend of ours owned a lemur, and it came to a couple of our band practices. And it was a cool monkey, man. And we had to cut like basically a CD single of our big song, which is Insomniac Cartoon Theater at the time. And we didn't know what to call it. And so the bass player was like, dude, that lemur's fucking cool as shit. We were just high as shit. The lemur was there. We were there. And let's name it after the lemur. And our buddy was like, man, I don't know. I'll have to ask my girlfriend because it was her lemur. And she's like, well, I don't want you to name it after my lemur because, the person I named it after was very important to me. And I just don't want you to do that. So they were like, okay, how about When Lemurs Attack? And that it became the name of the single.
How is that entire conversation not part of a story?
Oh, I did. It probably is somewhere. I have lots of lemur stories. I have weird shit. I'd honestly forgotten about the lemur until we were just talking about it.
Honestly, there are things that we've had conversations about that I am surprised have not become internet memes.
No kidding. Oh, we have a new fan, Unwavering New, that wants to let us know about a promotion for our
For chatbots.
Yeah, I know.
We've been trying to reach
We've
you.
made it. We
Ours
finally have
extended
chatbots.
warranty.
Yeah. It's our podcast's extended warranty.
All right.
I can't delete it. I don't have the dots to make it go away.
Hold on a minute. I was just so enamored by it. I just want to show it for a second because it's funny. Okay. I don't know how to make it go away. I know I can, but I just don't know how.
There should be next to the star, there should be 3 dots that have a drop down, but I don't have them.
Yeah, there's not there for me for some reason.
I don't
It might be what level we've paid for.
It might be, yeah. I think it's hilarious. I'm fine with leaving.
Yeah, we can leave it there, or we can go into Twitch, and actually like block them.
Yeah, that's how you know you make it when bots start finally invading.
When bots invade your 3.5 hour long bullshit session,
we had to have
that wasn't even advertised.
XBP.
And that bot's probably our one viewer too.
When bots attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, our previous one viewer finally went to bed. So, well, he went to bed like 3-4 hours ago.
Speaking of bed,
Yeah.
I love you all,
It's
and
been a
I'm
long time
glad we
since
all
we've done
hung
a long
out.
one.
Yeah,
Good night.
nice to see everybody tonight. But I am going to be checking out. I need to catch my meds up, and so this is time for me to take them tonight, so I can try to get cycled back on.
We should probably cap it at 3 hours and 17 minutes and seconds that are continuing to click by as I speak.
Okay.
All right, I'll stay on for that.
Good night. Thanks for coming.
Night, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.